Good morning. Welcome. So glad you guys are joining us today. My name is Jay Song. Everything in this video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Everything's just for entertainment, educational, and comedic purposes only. I eat red crayons for breakfast. Trading in the markets carries a substantial risk. Never trade more than you can afford to lose, and especially be aware against high leverage trading. Past performance is never indicative of future performance. All right. We're going to look at some of the markets. It's going to be great. Let's look at USDT.D, and we'll have a look at XRP, and then I'm going to continue with the requests that were on the list from the other day. Here is our USDT.D, our dominance chart. Now I use this chart primarily as an indication of when I'm looking for people to be out of the sidelines in the market. So this is my big indicator that I use to tell me what's happening in the market and what season the markets are in. Okay, when this chart is going up, it tells me people are primarily in a cash position, and when this chart is going down, it tells me people are out of cash positions and primarily in crypto. So I use this in a way to determine when cryptos are moving up or moving down in certain areas. Okay, now right now, this weekend and this past week, 2 times we talked about this number 3.86. This past week we talked heavily about that number 3.86. It was telling me some information where the support was along that track. Okay, underneath that track tells me there's more weakness, and we said on what I think was Wednesday, we were looking specifically for some closes below that track. If we got closes below that 3.86, it tells us we're going further down at the moment. If it doesn't, it tells us, and we're especially if we're stopping right there, it tells us that we may be getting a bounce. Now, on that Monday, before we did that chart, we talked about it moving possibly higher due to some of the smaller time frame stuff, but I didn't see anything that tells me we're going back into really high territories or anything like that. So I'm still looking for our main resistance to hold, which is primarily here. Now, as long as it's holding here, we're viewing the structure in a very large way, which is large structure. And at the time, I had structure like this, so we have a strong possibility of going down, but we still need to beat this watch line, and we have not. We bounced on that watch line there, and the date of the bounce was January 6th. Today is January 11th. Okay, so here we are now on Saturday. Was this Monday? January, whatever day January 6th is. It may have been Monday. Okay, now,
yeah, I think it was Monday.
Yeah. So we all talked about all of this one. You guys remember us having that conversation. Now look carefully where the top is. We're going to talk about the volume and what I believe is going to happen next. So we see some of the volume from the top bars still fairly high. Okay, they were high here a little bit from November 26th. Then when we challenged it again, there was an increase in volume. There was still some high volume in these areas closer to December 10th. Now, when we see those increases in volume on the challenge, it generally reveals that we're going to challenge one more time in the future. And so we challenge one more time in the future here on December 19th. And the volume was also still high for the next 2 days. Now, we challenged it again the next week, and the volume was actually low. So the volume was actually low when we challenged, but it wasn't a huge swing. It was low volume. Then we challenged one more time. Now we can see that the power of this line is drying up. If they're going to take markets to a higher position in this chart, it's going to be moving the chart lower. They want the best prices they can before the move starts. So they're going to be an absorption of supply along this line. If this is the structure, they're going to want to absorb all the supply. So we want to see the volume dry up. So this move right here was a good move. But the fact that they were not able to bring it even past its own structure tells us it's just not ready yet. And we knew that after we got the close the next day from Monday. Okay. Now, after this, we come back up and we do have one more move high. And that's this one where we touched it and the volume is higher, but coming down in the only in the more smaller immediate term. if we compare this volume to some of the previous volume, it is lower, but it is also higher than here. So that tells me we're probably going to spend a few more days in here and maybe even have one more chance. So I'll say that again. Because this volume is high, but only in the smaller amounts, but yet it is still comparable to some of the other volumes, such as on December 30th, when we are here again, I'm going to say, because the increase in volume is here, you're going to look for them to try to keep it up just for a few more days. Now, luckily, we've already talked about this, so none of this is taking any of you guys by surprise, especially those who watched since Monday. And what we talked about Monday specifically of this past week was this 4.6 number. Okay, so this 4.6 number is now going to go down towards this next day, and I keep moving it to the side. It is here for 4.57. Okay, so this week that number's dynamic minus, that dynamic negative. That means it's going down along a track. Okay, now where this resistance is based on these three areas up here. This is the foundational area. We're in a downtrend, and it started because of these three areas. So this is like the foundation of a large building. So if the structure is going up or going down, I'm primarily paying attention to whatever structure was built when it first began, because that's going to give us a strong precedence about what's going to happen next. Okay, so this now becomes a bit of an area, what I call a vortex. And a vortex is where we have structures on one side. Okay, we have structures on one side, but we also have structures on another side. And when you have price and they're making these little pockets, okay, like this, and where we have price that seems to come right into these little pockets or crevices, we look for prices to reject. But I like to wait for prices to come into those pockets. Because we have an angle that comes down and an angle that comes up, we can actually use this to calculate the exact time, or almost the exact time, very close to the exact moment on when we're looking for these numbers to hit. And the number of that vortex is around the week of January 22nd, as I've given you guys before. So January 22nd, just to remind everybody, is the week when there is a strong possibility. So now let's put the pieces together. If some of the evidence suggests we're probably going to challenge one more time in these areas, it might very well be in our, it might very well, and there's a vortex at the top in that little pocket around January 22nd. It might very well be the case that we'll have one more challenge closer to that date, and then we can see a strong chance for price to go down. But again, there needs to be a break in the angle that's going up. So now these angles that were smaller here are still reinforced by that last bounce this past week. So now we have three small areas. So if I'm going to be trading here, I'm going to be looking for a sharp bullish move. And then if prices break, I'm going to be looking for another trade back to the areas where we're going overall. Okay. Again, where they're going overall. Now, some of the clue that price is going the wrong direction, we'll talk about when it comes. But basically for now, suffice to say that because price is above here, it looks like we're probably going to play in this pocket and challenge the main resistance, not just this line. Now this line we've been challenging over and over and over and over since we first called it November 26th week, which was the week of Thanksgiving, or the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Okay, because I remember I put it on our website before I went, and I put a lot of text about it. But if we challenge one more time, it's probably going to be in that pocket. I'm going to be looking for us to come down, then, but only to here, and then another trade here if we don't get one more bounce. So there's only really two big options for me once we're in that pocket, if we're in that pocket. All right. Now, a bearish thing that could happen in the market, or something that's bad in the market, is if we were to break out and come back down on the top side and sit in that pocket, then that would be a very bad thing. Now, I don't really believe that's going to happen, but it is one possibility you should know about. If price were to completely go past this 4.5 number and we pull back into that pocket of January 22nd week, I would expect the markets to be very bad. But since we're still in the right territory where we're underneath here, I'm very bullish the markets. But for a few short days, I'm not going to be as bullish. We need to be in that pocket. Probably giving it another week. The week today is January 11th. So we got about one more week before that would fulfill or happen. And it doesn't need to go into that pocket, but it's a highly likely time that we're going to go in that pocket, which means that there's not really much room for the markets to fall so much today without it being a very overtly aggressive move. So I'm not going to be so bearish the markets. In fact, I'm not really bearish the markets at all, nor have I been, except for that day when we got the close. So after we got the close there, I'm looking, we're probably going to come back up and challenge one of these areas here, either here or here. So this one can be removed. It's going to act a little bit like a support now, possibly somewhere that parabolic that's here. Not a huge support. It's possibly part of a mid-phantom, which means we're going to have some more support still way back here down later, but we're going to talk about that later, it's a little bit like the weather forecast. We can see some of these up and coming things, just like we've seen the DP support down here. We knew that was a support way before it happened, and we also know that this pink area is a huge support, but we're going to be looking to be very bullish all the way down when it does happen. Okay, so now let's just give you some new adjusted numbers. The numbers for that 3.95, which was on the core side, we talked about why 3.8 wasn't the one that had it. We did a whole lesson about why 3. Was better than 3.95 this past week. So if you saw it, had to do with the wick matching the core angle. Okay, so it had a lot to do with that. We called it before it happened. We got all the pictures for it on our website. Otherwise, I'll show them to you guys again next week. But we talked about that. The dream, the going up a longer curve, is going to move. All of this is just going to move to the side. The dream I have about this going up a longer curve tells me that we're still waiting for a bounce to happen. Okay, and now I'm going to show you guys one more thing. That 3.8 number is now going to be adjusted for next week. So if I go to tomorrow and price really comes down, I don't think that's going to happen. It's going to be 3.91. That would mean it would be really bullish, because remember, as this chart comes down, cryptos are moving up. When this chart is moving up, cryptos are moving down. Primarily, some of the ones that are in a really strong position are barely going down, even in the movements. And I think XRP, XDC, XLM, those are ones that are probably going to be doing really well in this next season, because they're still sitting quite pretty. All right, I will give you an image, something like this, but I'll put some health and resistance areas here so you guys can have it. Okay, there's a health. It needs to be like a red, right? But red would be bullish this market. Remember, I want this chart to come down. Okay, that's where I'm looking. Does anybody have any other questions on my take on what we're looking at? Oh, by the way, I should give you that prices for both today and for the actual vortex of January 22nd. So the magic number, the big takeaway number, the big number is 4.44. If I'm seeing price sitting in that pocket, 4.44, I'm going to be looking for it to fall towards the next support somewhere above 3.94, probably going to be 3.94 that day, and then we're going to be, but I'm just going to leave it somewhere here, average 3.91. But it's along this track. Once we hit this area, then it's going to be decision time. Two things will happen. Either we're going to bounce, okay, that's why I'm showing the green, or we're going to go underneath. Now, I didn't have a green here last time, but I did show you the red where it was underneath. You could have easily put a green on top of every area there's a red. Almost every area red. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for me? All of this just moves down. Okay, we can talk about this chart. We talk about all the time, but I don't want to do too much, but everything's still holding. Everything seems okay. All right, let's go. Shawnee Cat says, not a coincidence that the vortex is January 22nd. I received a word my finances would shift after January 20th, the inauguration. Wow. Praise God. Okay. All right. Anyone questions, comments, my takes, my thoughts, USDT.D. Take your screenshot. Let me make a big screen so you guys can take it. All right. Take your screenshot here or here, and then just zoom in if you don't already have one. And then plot some of these lines yourself. Cheese? Yes, sir?
Dead cheese?
Cheese.
Huh?
Yes. Yes.
The USDT, it's looking like on the chart that it's at the top of that upper range right now, right?
Yeah.
Are you thinking it's going to go down and then go back up and hit it at the January 22 date? Is that what you're saying? Or it's just going to stay?
We may do something like just stay here. And the reason I say this is because right now we're at 4.24. the top is at 4.40. We hit there yesterday once, then we hit it again the day before, 2 days in a row we hit it, and then we're sitting here. So my thoughts is this: when I originally tracked this parabolic, it comes down around here, right? And we're sitting here, we're probably going to have an incentive to play up here a little bit more, okay? Because we have some support, so it can actually sit down here quite nicely. Does that make sense to everybody? Some of that parabolic may come out here. I don't think it's going to be the case, but the support should be approximately the distance from here, and it is. See that? And I'm just doing gesture, and we're going to do more of this stuff when we talk about sword method 7.0, when we include some of the star method stuff. But this is actually a support along this track. I haven't really plotted this one, but you can see that flow happening. So therefore, if I step back or I zoom in after stepping back, I would say to myself, I'm more incentivized for me to stay somewhere in this range, at least until then. Okay, with us possibly hitting 4.5 and 4.4. So if we really go up tomorrow, as I mentioned last week, we're just going to be hitting this area, which is that foundational area I spoke about a few minutes ago. So that means that price has more incentives to stay here and hit, or hit tomorrow and then come back down. I'm not going to panic, and then we'll hit the vortex, and then we're going to fall. Okay, that's where my big thoughts are. Parabolic, duplicated to the top, to the bottom, the same exact distance, 50%. We're going to duplicate that same distance. It's about there. Does that make sense? It should be a little lower. Yeah, there we go. If I measure this distance, it's the same distance on the bottom, and therefore our supports, if our supports can be measured, should have been there, and that's where our supports were. So therefore our wider range is somewhere as an oscillation like this along a curve. So we still have incentive to go down. We're still trending down, and right now those straights coming in as a vortex have an incentive. So right now its price is more incentivized, or has more reasons to stand. If anything, you could draw a shortcut here. Okay, it's not a strong one, but it's something. Okay, it is also like a type of step up. So price could play in here, and then we could fall. That's what I'm thinking. Anybody have any other questions?
Yeah. Jay, is it possible? Can I do a wee squiggle on your chart?
Do you want me to zoom out or leave that view?
Zoom in.
Okay, hold on. Let me delete some of these lines. Okay, I'm gonna fade my in the background. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Is this line here strong? See this line here? Is that strong? That line? That's
Can you
strong.
circle it, House? I think I missed it. Okay.
Is that a strong line? Because could we do something like, if we do something like this and come up here, that's the best case scenario for us, isn't it? That if we actually curve into this.
I would like that line is not a line, House. That's just my notes here from November 22nd.
Zoom in again.
But yeah, but there can be. See, I took it away. It was just like a comic book line to show.
Oh, right, that was confusing me. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. But there is if you were going to draw like a type of watch line, I'll hide these lines so you can see it. Okay. If anyone needs it.
Something. Do you see there? Like there's 4 lines. Do you think that it could travel like that there, and then up into where you're talking, and then down?
Yeah. This is what we're gonna draw. Okay. So I'll take a blank shot, and then I'm going to show you this, okay? So if we're really isolating only this area, it's okay to do that. But you got to remember, when you isolate these smaller areas, don't forget to add in the larger story, because there's a lot of people that'll take like a 15-minute chart and they'll give a bit their analysis, and they're right. But if you don't step back and look at your opposing enemies that were on the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 12 daily, you're gonna get messed up even if you're right. So that's why we have to see multiple variables. So don't ever feel prideful and my analysis can't be wrong. Yeah, everyone's can. We all see in part, especially me. All right. The goal is to have more eyes on a chart. So if you look at what House is talking about, he's talking about, I think, a flat that is here, and I'm going to show you one. I'm going to show you the one I see and the one he caught. Okay, so the one he sees is talking about this core, that core, and he pointed out to right now, but I don't really see anything right now, but I do see this one here, which is wick, and that might be part of that flat. Now, if this is a flat here, How can we use that to trade or make money? Does anybody maybe know what we can do? He did it a little while ago. I just want to see if anyone else catches it. Let's just take 2 minutes and see. Anybody know how we can use this to make money? If this is our angle, it's right there in the middle. Maybe it's gonna come back here, okay, where we got that small bounce. So, good job. Whoever iPad is, their name is iPad. Please change your name to your real name so I know who it is. They drew some lines on tops and bottoms. Okay, does anybody want to explain what is happening and how to do it? He's measuring, whoever iPad is measuring here on the top and even on the wick side. Okay, how does he know to draw a flat here? He's right. Okay, I'll show you how. Okay, what we're doing is, if we understand this is our line and it's going, and price is respecting it, and we have multiple areas where it's respecting it on top and bottom, and yeah, it's going in and out. How can we use that? What we can do is we can take some of the distance first at core and then at wick. So let's just take the core areas first. Okay, so I'm going to take the distance between here and here as an oscillation. Okay, price moving back and forth, and I'm going to measure by taking a line from here to here, and then I'm going to move or duplicate that line to the top side between here. And this is going to give me a good idea about how far price should travel. Conservatively, prices should travel somewhere up here, which it did twice. Okay, now from a wick side, that tells me a few things. If price is building above here conservatively with structure, if I see prices building on here, I have a higher chance of going higher. But also, if price is building below these areas, I have a higher chance of prices going lower. And it's been very close to the support. Now I can also include the highest wick range if I have valid reasons to, by taking my same angle. Now this is angle, it acts like a key angle. This is probably one of the most simple versions of it because it's just a flat angle. But if I take whatever angle that was, in this case it's flat, and I put it on the wick side, or the place with the most wicks in case maybe it's about right there, I can also measure that distance, which you'll notice is even farther than the conservative distance we gave us before. Measuring just between the cores, now I'm measuring even farther. I can even measure as far as the wick side if I had a reason. So just say I was measuring all the way from here to here to the wick side, and I'll try to be very accurate. I can take that distance and move it up to the top side of my line, and now my resistance is approximately here. So if this is all in balance, and it was, you can see that price reached whatever price that was, 4.62%. So now I can actually do myself a favor by moving these higher and moving these lower to the wick side. So now if I'm wanting to use this to help me guide myself or make money, I can use these two areas in a strong way. I now know that whatever price this is, 4.6, just say it's 6.2, okay, or somewhere, yeah, it's 6.2. 4.62%, if price is building above 4.62%, I'm more likely to go higher. And if price is building below 3.70%, I know with a higher degree of confidence it's going to go down. Now, if this chart goes down and markets go up, then I know I can use that to make money. Okay, but this is how we can use this, okay, to our advantage, both conservatively and liberally. Okay, using the cores on the conservative side or the liberal side. In this example, I'll leave them both for you, depending on how you like to trade. Okay, if you're conservative, you're going to be a little early to the party sometime, but you can see some of this stuff building. Sometimes you'll see it build and come up to the top still and build there, and then they go up. Sometimes you'll just wait for them to break over their major extremes. But I will move out the way. If you guys want to take a screenshot of that, let me hide this. Okay, so this could help us understand one other thing. Instead of just breakouts, it also can help us understand that if we're looking for a roof, it might be also there. So if prices come up to that roof and we can come down in a big way, I can say, whoa, we're stopping here at 4.60. Especially if I see like structure or round structure underneath, or I see a round like that, I'm going to be looking for us to come down. I know the number to look at, and I know when I can fall asleep. I don't really want to pay attention too much until we hit some of these. You can also use these lines as vortexes. So if I know I'm supposed to be looking around the old high, let's see and overlap it now to see if I see any new vortexes. Thank you to House and whoever iPad is. All right, so how I can use that, okay. So we determined, let's put one flat line at that old high. People say, well, why do you add a flat there? I just showed you why, okay. And now I have a vortex that's yesterday. So I'm not gonna be looking for a vortex there, okay. Not yesterday, but last week, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, January 9th. So that's in the past, so I'm not gonna be looking for that. But if I do see price really break out to the top side, I might be looking for it to hit the roof and come back down and give me one more chance. We can use that. Now, you can use the low side as well. That number, 4.61 as a percent. 4.61, 4.62. So that's how we can add that on there. Now there's going to be one more thing that I'm going to show you about that chart, and I'll use that blank one, and that's taking this wick and that wick and drawing it here. Because I'm bullish this chart for a few more days because of the support, it's very possible we're going to be looking for reasons to stand. And this might be one of the more smaller reasons. Okay? On the wick side, this is a watch line that has been broken. Price sitting on here may indicate we're still going to have a few more bearish crypto days when this one goes up, because when this chart goes up, your cryptos go down. So in the more smaller, immediate term, there's still more reasons for us, as I've drawn before, for us to go up and possibly play in here. Does that make sense? Okay, everybody got it? Reasons for this chart to go up. Okay, I'm gonna bring that and just show what's my thoughts right now. Okay, it's a very strong incentive to stay higher. So more reasons for us to play in this area for a few more days until it's January 26th week. And then if we come up to the pocket, that's game over. I'm going to be looking for it to come back down, back to our supports. Okay. All right. Anyone else? We're going to talk about during the week. I'll be here this week. You guys are Dive 2 members, so we'll do it. But anyone else have questions? These images have to go. I don't have any real evidence we're breaking above or going down just yet. We have to let it play out. All right. All right. Let's do some cryptos. The next crypto, I wouldn't be surprised, Alex. I don't know who it is. I wish I could give him credit. I don't know. Whoever is a pretty smart person. Maybe it's you in another room trying to be humble.
You mean that's iPad?
Yeah, whoever iPad was or is.
I think we know who iPad is. He talks sometimes. He's the guy with the cool radio voice.
I don't know. And when multiple iPads join in, their names just say iPad as default. All right, let's look at XRP. There's not really new stuff, although I will show you that the watch lines are in favor of getting broken really soon. Okay, so our last watch line down here, price is breaking above, yet still not be able to sustain above there. Remember, the larger story is that there's a sludgy area. I use the word sludgy area here. And so when prices broke above and they're building on top of these areas, I'm in the camp that they're going up, not going down. Okay, I drew that for you guys months ago. Okay, where we were looking for us to break above or where we were looking for us to build. And again, months ago, I've drawn this structure for you guys. That's why, as I told everybody, I moved out of a lot of cryptos into a larger XRP and a larger XTC position, because I believe they're sitting better than most cryptos, so they have a higher chance. In addition to all of that, when USDT.D has been bearish against them, they only come down just a short time, and they haven't really lost their positioning. The position being at $2 and around $2.30. So those are the areas it had to overcome, and getting those closes and only dipping to $2 but coming back up to the 230. Dipping, coming back up, dipping, coming back up, dipping, coming back up. That's a very good sign that we're actually building really on 230 and just dipping into the $2 to get some more backup support or to build a larger support. So now the watch line that has to be drawn is based on some of these foundational areas of this last downtrend, and that's these areas here. Okay, so if we draw them conservatively, it's here, but the wick matches the angle. And as I taught you guys on Monday and on Wednesday, when the wicks match these angles, what we got to do is use the wick side. It makes it more probable that the real resistance is along the wick side. So if I get a breaks above here, I'm still looking to hit these wicks, but until I really break those wicks, that's my real big decision marker. That's my real big time of help. That's why, as I said, we break above, but we're still not respecting it. That's because the real resistance is up higher. And it's even more reinforced by 1, 2, and 3 now that we hit this and came down. 1, 2, 3. This is telling us the real resistance is the top one. Now, previously when I showed this, I drew it by hand. When I showed this chart 2 times, I drew it by hand, but now I'm showing you guys more professionally drawing with the angle. I'm just letting you guys know the same story. This is letting us know the real number that XRP has to break for this week is 244, okay? And that number is going down every single day. The healthy area, just use these circles as a guide, is on top of this area. So once we build on top of here, XRP is ready to go to the next levels. I'm going to be looking for XRP to be hitting closer to $5 for me. $4.77, $5.03, but just for the sake of argument, it's around the $5 area. That's going to be based on some of my basic projections. We also have the move possible up to the $13 or $12, which I'll bring back when it's time to talk about those. We'll have another meeting about it, but it's the same as my other previous XRP tutorials. You guys type in XRP and look at the last videos where I've talked about XRP and the $12 moves. These are some of the bigger market predictions. After we hit the 12, 13, it's very possible to us to hit 15 in a very short relative time from 15. And then after we hit 15, we're going to be looking for XRP to possibly even hit $70. But as I've told you guys in my dreams, I see it coming down, and I see them coming down on 2 ways. I saw a dream where XRP goes down on a curve. I also saw the dream where there's 3 large spikes. As I've discussed many times, if you guys didn't see my video, I'm just going to hide all my lines real quick just to show you one more time. Pull up a monthly chart to simplify this. 3 spikes for XRP. 1 spike, 2 spike, 3 spike. So therefore, I don't believe this move is all the way up to 12 first and then coming down. I believe the spike is really only closer to $5, which is just right about here. So that would be 1 spike, 2 spike, 3 spike, 5. Then we're going to come down. I believe we're going to come down either all the way to 89 cents, or we're going to curve backwards closer to 2. Okay, if we go to 89 cents to $1 area, then that would fulfill the spike, and then I would be looking for a curve in a future time, possibly from the 12 or 13. So that means once I go to the 12, 13, 14, 15 area, I'm going to be looking for us to curve down on a curve. But if we come down really shortly, then that will fulfill the spikes. But either way, that's going to help me give me personally a prophetic marker about what's going to happen. I'm going to be looking for XRP to come down on a curve. Now, as I mentioned before in my previous videos, I won't do it today because we already did this tons of times. But when I compare the USDT.D going up on the curve from a lower spot than it is right now, it's much lower than it is. I'm going to be looking for it to blast through at or after a time when it comes back down. Putting the 2 dreams together, I'll just show you quickly on this board, and you guys can watch the XRP, JSON's XRP, and USDT.D dream. But look at my screen really carefully to suffice. This is what I saw. Okay, XRP dreams, and this is all just to remind you or bring this to your attention. XRP dreams, 3 spikes. Okay, a curve, or a curve here, and that's going to be $5 to either 1, okay, that's 1, or the move from $12 down to on the curve. So there's either going to be a $12 curve or drop, depending on when the curve happens. There's going to be a move to $5, and then we're going to come down and curve, or we're going to drop. Whichever one doesn't have the curve, I'm going to use that. So if 5 we crash without a curve, I'm going to be looking for 12 to curve. If we curve at 5, I'm going to look for a crash at 12. Curve on 5 or 12. Okay, just to remind everybody. After that, a move after moves to $70 possibly. Okay, based on some of my maps that I have, I can calculate moves all the way up to $70. So this is XRP. The thing about this one is This spikes is happening in a few markets. You're going to see it happen in a few markets. It's not just limited to XRP, but that's part of it. Okay, so that's one. Now the next thing you need to remember is that USDT.D goes up on a curve. USDT moves up on a curve, and that's the red line that you saw at the bottom in the pink area. From pink area, which is the 3.5%, 3.5% to 3.2%. So somewhere there's a curve, which means I suspect it's $5 that actually is the one that it's going to curve up from. This one's going to curve down on a curve, and this one's going to go up on a curve. That's how those are going to overlap. Okay, that's why I really believe. Then in the dream, we come from a lower spot past a white line and barrel through it. Those are the dreams that I've given you guys, and that's a brief summary. That large candle that I see from here equals a large crash in the markets, which lines up perfectly with the data. From here, we go up. This equals crash, and it's a huge crash. So I'll show you this, and then we'll compare these images together. Okay, so here there is a line, a white line that goes down like this, and then a big crash happens, but we're low, well below this curve when it happens. So on USDT.D, the way I see it, just to remind people, because we got a lot of new people, just letting you know what my opinion is based on some of the things I saw in a vision and dreams, is it's here. Again, somewhere at the pink area, down here. After a time, when we come here, there's that white line. After a time, when we're in this territory, and I actually believe it's going to be closer to 2.83, personally, because I actually think it's below this pink line. We're going to barrel through. Cryptos are going to be here. They're going to be really high. Either XRP is going to be $70 or it's going to be $7. I'm sorry, or it's going to be $12 to $15, which I believe is going to be about 15. Then this is going to go up like that. And when it does, the market's going to crash. Okay, you're going to see a big drop in the market. Okay, that's what I really believe is going to happen. Let me pull back on the daily chart to smooth things out for you guys. Okay, so as it is, we're up here right now. When it comes down, market's going to be very bullish. This is going to burrow to the top, and when it goes up, your cryptos are going to come down. This chart does the opposite. The reasons I have to believe that all is because of all the structures that I've highlighted over the years. I think over the last 3 years, the USDT.D chart, primarily this curve. This curve is comprised of lots of large structures, and when I measured it on top, it's the same angle. It gives me bottoms in here. But this, again, is conservatively. And the reason I know it's conservatively is because I have spikes on the tops of the curvature. So even though the curvature maintains, I get a lot of these exceptions to the rules. So when I have these exceptions to the rules, I can add them back to the bottom. And that gives me lots of room to play. Okay, that means that prices for this chart can really come down from great heights, and we can experience one of the largest bull runs we're going to see, but we can also experience one of the largest crashes we're going to see. And it's going to be somewhere from below this pink line, which matches the dream about us barreling through this white line here, shooting past it. Okay, so that's how I can compensate these two. So I'm going to be looking for the USDT.D to go up on a curve, because I saw it go up on a curve, and I believe that means it's going to bounce on either the top section here or the bottom section here. Either way, I'm watching it really close so I get a good idea of what is happening, but I know it's going to be there. For right now, I just gave it to you guys as that arrow. Okay, when this one goes up, you're going to see cryptos go down for a little bit of time, and that means we're going to have time to take profit, get out, and get back in. And when I see us down here, that means I'm going to need to take some profit on cryptos before the big crash happens. So I'm exiting more safer. Okay, and same with XRP. I'm going to be looking for that curve so I know when it's time to come back in XRP. Because if I just crash, I'm going to be looking for the low number like $1, or I'm going to be looking for the low number around the last supports around $2 again, coming from 5. If it's a curve, I know to get back in. If I just see it not coming down on a curve and we're just still coming down, I'll buy it just at the low numbers. Okay. Then if I didn't see a curve at all happen, I'm going to be looking for a curve from all the way from $12 to $15 coming down nicely back maybe to $5. So that curve is going to tell me a lot of information, and I'll be here to share with you more about that curve as it happens live. Any other questions? XRP, my take on XRP today.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So let's just say, let's play a scenario out. Let's just say that we're at that point. Let's say it's February, whatever, and we're seeing Tether fall like a rock, and it's getting close to that 284. Okay. And we all know it's time to get out. Are you planning on getting out maybe 80% of your crypto? Something like that?
If I saw like Tether crashing,
yeah. Let's say around 310, and now it's 290, and you know that's about the bottom. Like, you expect to get maybe 80% of your crypto gone?
Oh, okay. So you mean USDT.D on the dominance?
Yeah, USDT.
Okay.
Sure.
If I saw that at the bottom, I would be looking for the nearest exit points for the cryptos that I'm in, and then I would be looking to move into a bigger stable coin position at that time, and make sure my low buy orders are ready just in case, because that's more when it's opportune for them to crash the markets, when it comes from a great height.
Are you thinking maybe 80% of your cryptos you're going to profit? Just a guess, just somewhere.
It might even be more. I really need to pray. When I put all my dreams together over the years, Wayne, and I appreciate you. I really appreciate your question. When I put all my dreams together over the years, I remember the first dream that I ever had that brought me publicly into this space, and that's the crash from the plane. Everyone was already underwater. I knew it wasn't a physical plane crash. It was bait. It was a crash for money, because people were swimming around looking for something that they could sell. They were not looking so that they could survive, so they could sell something so they could try to survive. I knew it wasn't they were trying to survive because of the water, like physical water. And I was standing out there on a platform, so I already had a platform. That means like basically YouTube, and I didn't know what that meant at the time because I wasn't even on YouTube. But I already was on a platform. There was already a yacht behind me, so it may mean I'm already wealthy at that time or something. I don't have a yacht, but people were swimming towards my platform, and they were taking luggages, they were taking even shares they were trying to rip off just so they had some kind of substance, maybe something they could sell to have wealth or to have money, at least, because everything was in the dumps. Maybe they just need food or whatever, but everyone's swimming around for something of value. And then some of them threw their wealth, their luggages at me, and the word was they're casting their lot with you, which means to me they're doing the same thing that I'm doing. Okay, for me to see that crash happens means I'm still expecting the big crash. I'm not expecting like a crypto winter situation or crypto's just going down. I'm expecting a crash. I'm looking for markets to really fall from a great height, and I'm looking for that great height. Okay, so for me to be there and be like, hey, I'm gonna get out all my cryptos, I'm gonna wait for us to first be falling from a great height, or wait for us to be at a great height. And in my opinion, we have not hit a great height. If we hit a great height, that's going to now trigger those dreams where I'm like, okay, now I'm waiting for a crash. But until then, my great heights are like XRP 12 to 15. That's a great height. That could be one. My great height would be the real probably one that I expect the biggest crash is at $70 XRP 1 million Bitcoin. So the last I measured that I think they're going to match at $70 XRP and $1 million Bitcoin. As I mentioned a month ago in some of my videos in that presentation about XRP USDT.D, that would constitute a very large crash. That's something I can see in a map. I can't see the $1,000, and I can't really see anything beyond $1 million Bitcoin. But in a map, I can actually see, yeah, $1 million is a resistance. I can see, whoa, $70, $73 is a resistance. So if I see price in those pockets, I'm going to be looking for them to come down, and for that to be the time where it triggers. It could be algorithms failing all at that time, but we know prophetically it's supposed to fall from a great height. I know from my dreams it's supposed to fall from a great height. So therefore I'm going to use that great height to trigger approximately how much I'm going to sell. So if it's just a normal map fall and we're just falling from maybe $5 or even $5, I'm not going to sell everything. If it's $12, I'm probably going to sell a larger portion, but I'm going to make sure I have buy orders ready to go. Okay, I'm going to be watching buy orders, and I'm going to look to see if I already had that curve. Because if I didn't hit the curve, then I'm going to be looking to fall like a rock from 12. But if I fell like a rock if you sell at 12 or 15, if you don't get back into XRP when it's time, you can miss out on the $70. You can miss out on some of the more prophetic wealth transfer stuff by settling for pennies. So you got to know what you're doing. And I actually sat down with an individual who I didn't tell them this. I had no conversations. They didn't even know that I had some of these numbers. But this is what they said. They sat down next to me and they said selling XRP at $12 is going to be like Esau selling his birthright for a bowl of soup. Did you hear me? When Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup, it may be akin to selling XRP at $12. So why would you sell then, Jason? Because I'm a trader and I trade. I move back, I move here, I move right, but I move out of position, I move in a position. I move in position, I move out of position. I can't trade for a whole community. But I do for myself, from time to time, move in and out of positions. So I know how to manage or mitigate that. I also have crypto that I don't touch, that are XRP, that I don't care what the market does, I just never touch. It's just long term. And then I have a trading bag, which sometimes I touch. Sometimes there's a little crossover, but for the most part, I don't touch it, and the trading bag I touch. It's a percentage or a separate wallet or something like that. That's how I manage mine. So for you guys, to answer your question in a complicated way, you may want to think like that. Don't sell your XRP. If you know you can't get out and get back in right away when it's time, or you're too moved by your emotions, just leave your XRP. But if you know that you can navigate it, like we navigate from time to time, then do it. If you feel a real quickening in your spirit that you won't be able to take advantage, maybe you won't because you'll be asleep. Maybe you'll be traveling and you won't have access to a computer, and it's all going to happen while you're gone. Now, I don't think it's going to happen all that quick. I think it's going to be, the crash is going to happen closer to the summer, as I had a dream it happened on June 27th. I heard somebody else the other day give the June 27th number. I don't know if it's because they saw my dream, or I don't know, or whatever, but they were some kind of financial person, and they said June 27th. I said, whoa, that's really weird. That number matches the dream I had too. So I think the crash happened sometime in the summer. So that means I think the rise has to happen before the summer. And those are going to be some of my thoughts. Any other questions, comments before we look at these two cryptos? Then we'll take a break, and then I'll do some other cryptos. We'll be back for that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, if it hit, XRP did hit $12 to $15, a lot of people don't realize the potential that it truly has.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just selling because they don't think it's ever going to go up any higher, and they just sell everything. And wow, okay,
Yeah.
And then all of that, there's that bowl of porridge that they sold. Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be the way to shake them out of wealth transfer too. And that's also why you guys shouldn't you should not invite your friends to wealth transfer. There's a lot of reasons why. It has a lot to do with the Lord. But one of the things is that once you get them in, they're going to hate you either way. I talked about that a few weeks ago. Because if you don't tell them the exact points, like if you don't tell them, oh, price crashed from $12, you didn't tell me to get out, they're going to be mad at you. If it goes and they cash it at $12 and it goes even higher to $70, they're going to be mad at you. They're going to be like, why didn't you tell me to get out at 12? It went to 12 and then it went to thousands. I could be a millionaire now. They will seriously be angry at you. To save yourself from all of that accountability, this is not for everybody. Unless the Lord specifically led them into this space, then let it be the Lord. They're not accountable to you, and you don't have to be accountable to them. Please be careful bringing people into this space. Okay. All right, Nardu.
Jason, can we just quickly check on your XRP daily chart, your watch line or your daily watch line?
Yeah.
On the week, what's the date when it crossed to $50?
What's the date?
Yes, when it.
Yeah, you gotta, let's see, some of the support is on the lower side of this blue, so I'm gonna say it's somewhere around January 25th. But if we take, and what he means by that is how long can price play before it has to break out? If price is building on this support still, we got really around January 25th. But if we take into account this whole area, price could play all the way up until February 25th. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks a lot. It's interesting, it's the 25th of January.
Yeah.
And USDT's Baltics is 22, right?
Yeah. So they're in that same window. You may see that. Yeah. And I really don't think it's going to take all of that long to break out. We could break out tomorrow for XRP, but XRP is fighting against the grain, and that's a good thing. But it could be bogged down a little bit more based on the USDT.D situation. If the USDT.D, by the way, tells us that we're probably going to be going up for a few more days, it's very possible for us to play back in here. Okay, within this large range. We hit it 1, 2, 3, 4. We can hit it again and play here. Now it's supposed to get stuck. USDT.D is supposed to get stuck in that pocket. On its pocket, I don't think XRP is all going to get that stuck, but it can play out to be longer. Right? Today's a breakout day. It's possible resistance today. So I don't know if it's going to break out today or we're just going to come back underneath here. Most likely, we're probably going to come back for just a few more and then maybe continue our merry way. All right. Anyone else? Questions, comments, the whole USDT.D USDT.D XRP situation. Yeah, I'll take requests. I'll make sure I put those down at the break. Alex says, do you plan on shorting the market at that time? I'm not confident in my ability to do that. Just curious if you are. That's a good question. And then Triple J, I'll take your question or comment. Do I plan shorting the market? There was a man, he prophesied that he saw people in our community shorting the market. I feel like I want to short the market, but I really don't want to short it until XRP is at the $70 to $73 area. And if I see it on the data clearly, if I can clearly see those resistances and supports, but right now that's like calculating 6 moves in advance, and I can't calculate that. I probably can, but I'm just the more moves I go into advance, the more I speculate. So for example, you guys can play a game of chess and play 23 moves in advance. I knew one guy, he could play like many moves in advance. He was one of the grandmasters. He was a good guy. He was good at chess, I should say. And then what he did, but if the person gave him a different random move, then it changed that game and he has to calculate something else. We could try to speculate and calculate what we're going to do or what price would look like when it's at $70. But for me, it's better for me to just at least be on our way up there, maybe in the 40s, 50s, then we'll start talking about what our game plan is. I don't want to speculate too far in advance, but I plan to short it. I want to short it from 70. I don't really want to short it from 12 unless I hit that curve. Because if I hit the curve at $5, we went from 5 down on a nice curve to maybe 2, I'm going to be like, yeah, we're going to fall like a rock from 12. Because that fulfilled the prophecy or my vision about it going down on the curve. And then I'm going to look for it to spike down. So then I would probably want to short at 12 for me with a buy order to rebuy, and then I'll make money on the way down. I'll double the cryptos I have holding, and I'll make some money, and I'll double the amount of XRP that I have, or more than double. That's would be something I would do. Okay, anyone else? This is our time to talk about it. Triple J, questions, comments?
You don't see them anyway coming back to $1.89.
$1.89?
Yep.
I think 89 cents. I have $1, but I don't have 189. 189 is somewhere about right here. So you probably, I guess I have that one because that's our support. See, I just gave it as $2 on average, but if you look at this bottom area, it's actually 194. So 189 is not far back. There's 189 right there, right there. And do you believe it's gonna do that? Do you hear that? Do you sense that?
Yeah, last week I heard 189. But that's if, because I also heard 82K for a while, a long time ago, 82K for BTC. For all I know, it could be a wick.
Didn't Robin a couple weeks ago on one of his videos say he thought he saw XRP at $1.91 or $1.90, maybe a week and a half ago, something like that? I remember.
I don't remember, but wow.
No, I'm just saying, I heard it.
Good.
A week and a half ago. Maybe that has validity to what Triple J is saying too. Another witness. Maybe a wick. Maybe there's a wick that comes down.
Both Triple J and Prophet Robin see
and Marco has 184. Marco, you here? I think he's got like 189 and 184, 187, somewhere around there.
I'm going to take any of those numbers if it gives like a wick.
Yeah, there he is.
Okay, Camino, you have 190 area for you on your maps or prophetically?
No, it's on the map. I'm going to be playing that.
Okay.
I'm going to be trying to catch wicks, basically.
Yeah.
But I think I see a lot of support up at the $2 range, and if we come back down, I think 202, 208, that 198 is going to be like a wick and just come right back up, in my opinion.
That's what I'm thinking. That just might be a wick.
And though price is at 2.44 today, USDT.D suggests prices of cryptos may be negative this week.
Because that 189
Getting
is very close to that
stuck.
190 that you guys are talking. It's like smelling it. You sniff it and it goes away.
I just want to say is that I've had some people outside of our community ask me, especially like that 225 range, hey, when should I get in XRP? Well, listen, guys, if you're really into it for the long haul, what difference does it make if it's 225 or 220? Unless you're trading it, then that's a different story. But if you're in a long haul, I think in my opinion, I'm just buying every dip. So.
Did I say before? Because I hear it now, and I'm under the impression that the Lord has spoken this before. $30 benchmark.
For XRP.
XRP.
I think you have the benchmark, but it's a good reminder.
And the Lord, because the Lord is telling me now, and I hear the word quickly.
Wow.
Yeah, quickly.
You can then add some more credence and evidence that it might be dangerous to short at 12. We need to, or 12 or 15. We need to watch carefully the structure. That's why we got to be real careful about some of these moves if you're shorting before we're at the $70. It's better just to not trade.
Can I draw something on your map?
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me make this border big. There we go. Okay. All right, go ahead.
Because this is what I'm seeing I see it as I see a vision and I see movement. Okay, this is what I see. I see like it's 15. I see 15. That's 15, and then I see go like this, go down, and then go up, and it goes down, and I see 30 goes like a little bit settles and then goes up. It's like a quick move. They're all quick moves, and then I can't explain it. I just see it like moving. And when it does come down, it just goes a quick move down, but then goes right up. They're strong moves. You know that XRP, the way it moves, just like stays there and likes to eat and have a drink, and he'll have some coffee, and then all of a sudden it moves. You know what I mean? Am I explaining it?
Yeah, it does. A Copac Peter says he saw it. He heard 190 also. Did you hear it from someone, or did you hear that prophetically for yourself? Copac, let me know, okay? All right. Anyone else? Questions, comments? XRP USDT.D situation from someone. Okay. Love the discussion. Lydia says, might be dangerous to sell if it's quick moves. May not be able to buy it back. Good point.
I'm wondering if XRP is not the one to short, and some of these other coins that don't mean anything.
Yep.
I also hear chew. You know what that means, right?
XTC.
Someone was looking for an opinion last night on VIP about XD. I just want to say that I haven't found any exchanges yet that trades XDC on a perpetual, meaning any price movement that we get on those candles is volume, spot volume. So it's every time USDT goes up, where we expect XDC to go down, it doesn't go down. So,
yep.
Bullish, long-term bullish.
Yep. All right. Anyone else? XDC, XRP. XDC and XRP look almost identical. There's the sludge area. XDC sitting in a better position. Again, just to remind everybody why weeks and weeks ago I sold, I think almost 3 weeks ago now, I've sold almost 75% of everything I had and moved those positions into XDC and XRP because I believe they have the highest chance of sitting where they're at. I sold everything almost except for Volt because I liked where Volt was sitting at the time, and I just have a lot of Volt. But Volt didn't sit as well as some of the other cryptos. Eventually, it did lose its seat to a lot of cryptos that were trying to stand up on top of the support, couldn't get all the way through all the rest of their supports, and some of them fell back into their support range. Not XTC, not XRP. Okay, so that tells me when the markets do turn around, some of these that are still sitting correctly, sitting on top of the areas of resistance instead of underneath, they're going to have the higher chance of moving higher right out the gate. So when the markets turn bullish, these ones that are in position may go. The ones that are in negative positions, which there's not too many negative cryptos, during the bearish market, when markets go down, those are going to have the highest chance of falling compared to the ones that may be stronger. So in a bearish market, I want to short bearish cryptos. In a bullish market, I want to buy or hold on to bullish cryptos. All right. With that, we're gonna conclude. But yeah, this is just a brief look at XDC. XDC still sitting almost identical. You guys remember, I'm not gonna do a big report about XDC. I like where it's at. I like the places it's broken out of. I like where it's sitting. It's still sitting nice and pretty from our last times to buy, our last health, and it has a strong foundational area, which gives us lots of room to still fall if we needed to, lots of backup safety nets, and still be relatively bullish and move up. Okay. These next cryptos, PLTR, looks like it's a stock, Plantier. Okay, so let's look at this stock, Plantier. Good. Okay, if you're here in the group, let me know. So these are some of the requests we had from last week. I thought I'd done this one, but maybe it was a long time ago on our older maps. Here it is. So let's draw some of the more immediate gestures, some of the stuff we're going to talk about on this Wednesday, picking up where we left off after reverberations. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw some of the gesture. This is from some of the up and coming star method stuff we're doing to form a more immediate opinion about the support. So this is gonna, for this crypto in its current state fallen, I'm gonna look for this to fall a little bit further. I'm going to be looking for this to fall closer towards $58. Current price is $67. I'm going to be looking for this one to fall a little bit further to there. And then I'm going to give you a more immediate look at some of the supports and resistances based on the fixed range volume profile, which is our target analysis system. Let's see if I can get one for you. All right, got one. I'm going to be looking for prices to give me a support down here for our first target. This is going to be drawn in teal. Then our next target, which is up here. Oh, that's now. All right, good. This target's already hit. This one's at $68 to $66. Price is currently sitting on a support. 68.91 to around 65.71 cents. Okay, so this is based on target analysis. You guys who took our target analysis module, you know how to calculate some of these. The swing target, there's another target, by the way. I'm going to give you the next bigger one here. $42 to $39. How come it didn't type in those? 49 to 47. Okay, and then I have one more target to give you. I'm just going to give you one of the more local swing targets, which is up here. And that one's done in pink. Thank you, sweetie. All right, that'll be enough for that one for the immediate future. It's going to be $55 to $52. All right, so this is going to be some of the targets we have for this crypto to act like supports. Now, to see where the vortexes are, I can see that the $58 may spike down into the 58. That might be one we're going to be looking at. So this is very close together. So if price continues falling for the next week, I might be looking for it to bounce about the 55. Okay. The next area, let me fix this circle. The border is really thick. I'm not trying to make that big of a point about it. The next support we might be looking at is today, right now. So that might act like a support for us. And the other support that might be looking at is the vortex somewhere around January 30th, around these lower prices. And I'll give you that one down here. Now that one coincides with some of the gesture from this flow here. Okay, the top and bottom. And if I take this angle, this is just the mid-phantom. All this is advanced mid-phantom transformations, guys. But some of those lines still come into play. And if we need to talk about some of the lower numbers, we will. You can ask me again as we fall harder, if we were to fall. Okay, and then we want to be looking to fall on lack of interest or lower volume over time. Right now that it's just a few days in, so it's not that telling at the moment. But some of the numbers, again, I'm going to have my eye on are those numbers here. Okay, $50 and 58. Okay. Any other questions for Plantier stock? Okay. I'm not as super bullish right now. It's possible there's some distribution that's happening. I'm not super in that camp yet, that there is a major distribution, but it is some selling that's happening here at the top. Okay, look at that high volume on the up bars, small on the up bars followed by down moves into bearish territories. That means that are into weakness. That means that when I'm measuring this uptrend, we start building underneath some of those smaller trends. This is a sign we're slowing down, but I want to pay attention to the other large variable and that we're still going up along this case. So if I'm bouncing from here, I can still hold on, but primarily if I'm building under here, that could actually be a bearish thing. So we may want to give this a border to denote that it still could be dangerous by giving it a yellow border. So let's make that a really thick border just to remind ourselves that this is a delay territory, because we could get the bounce and come up high, but we can also get stuck by hitting the underside of this parabolic here, and we can still play here, and that could be bearish. So it did work out for us last time. We came all the way down here outside, but still came up and continued the trend, but it's generally the exception to the rule, and that happens a lot of times in the stock market with the considerable gaps. Okay, so I'm not going to really use that as the general rule of thumb, but as an exception to the rule, it may be okay to buy here, but it also could be some dangerous. So if I buy and I come here, but I'm still stopping along the underside of the curve, I'm going to know something's wrong. I want to get out. You can ask me again later or just watch it. All right, any other questions? Palantir going once, going twice. All right, I got a request to look at a crypto called UTK, which is X money. So let's see what that is, and let's see what we can draw about it. UTK. Okay, it looks like they have it on Binance. So let's pull it up on Binance. This is not a tutorial, not like Wednesdays, where we spend a lot more time doing explanations. Show up on Wednesday, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so we're going to pull up on Binance. I'm going to add it to the watch list so it shows up easy. That's why I click a little plus, and then I can remember which crypto I'm using. I'm going to click the larger button to make the chart pull up. All right. Is this all I got? No, I got more data. Okay, good. Ooh, and I got some good round structures. Ooh, I see something already. I see a few things already. All right. We're going to look for reverberations. I'm going to continue. On Wednesday, we did another large lesson about reverberations. So I'm going to pull up a weekly chart to smooth this out a little bit. All right, the candle should make a little more sense. Now, you'll notice we have round structure 1, round structure 2, round structure 3, and even some round structure here and maybe here. But if this was the launch, then it also is a round structure. After the weakness appeared, this crypto should have gone down. It started going down. Now we're going down along these three, so we want to mark those as the center of the energy. So this is what we call energy center. So they're just places where we know that it's important to actually draw. Okay, here and here. Okay, so those are our energy centers, the centers of those energies. Now this angle that we can draw from here is going to give us a lot of information. So if I were to collect those bottoms along a straight line, I can actually verify in the past that I've hit it a 4th time, closer maybe to this wick, or even collecting that 4th piece in the past. Now you can verify this forward or backwards, but do you see how it's all along the same angle? All right, so this is going to be a type of key angle. If you wanted to label it, you could label it KA. I don't always label all my lines. But once we have this angle, we can use that, duplicate it as a phantom, and we can use this at the other energy centers that are in the centers, the other energy centers that are in between some of these areas, or adjacent, meaning to the left or to the right. If I were to mark them on a chart, they are the center of this energy here, the center of that energy of price flowing there, the center of this energy of price flowing here, and one here. Okay, now there's places I can measure in here that are at the core, which is the root, the meaty part of price, which is about right there. But I can also measure on the higher wick side, which is the more liberal side. So in our case, once we have our correct angle, we can use both. Okay, we can use both. So I'm going to take that angle now, duplicate it, and move it to some of these higher energy centers. Let's start with the core of our first area back here, and we're going to look to see if it gives us any information that we can use to help us make money or help us trade or help us navigate, however we're going to be using this. At the core, when I place it here at the core on the weekly chart, it's giving me our first resistances. It's telling me resistance should be along that track, and it was here for that price. Now this is the reason we don't trade based on price alone, because at the time when we drew it, the number was 76. Okay, 76 cents. But later on, as the angle goes down, the angle falls to 70. And it goes further and further as time goes on. That angle goes lower and lower. Here's 45 cents, here's 33 cents. And here it starts telling us that our tops may be closer to only 13 cents. So this is why people say, well, Jay-Song said the resistance was at 70 cents, but now he's saying the resistance is 12 or 13 cents. That's because we trade based on a dynamic. Okay, this is why I say it's DP negative or DP positive, or that the angle is negative or positive. And that means dynamic negative, that angle's going down over time. Dynamic positive is when those angles would be going up over time. Okay, this is just me flipping the chart upside down. Don't panic. Don't worry, I'll put it back. Okay, so at the time, if we drew it here, it's going to give us resistance here. Now there's something else we can draw. We can take that angle and we can also bring it to the wick side, which was that top portion. So instead of the meaty part down here, we're going to give it up here to the wick side. And that also can give us some information about another resistance. So we can use these to get out. So if we're in a crypto, just say we were buying for whatever reason, we want to buy only in health in a downtrend. I know to get out here. If I'm shorting it to try to make money on the way down, I want to short it along the top and make the money when it goes down. And then I also want to use this to my advantage by knowing when it's primarily safe to enter, and we can do that by getting in after we break out, either above the conservative portion or above the liberal portion, and primarily I like both. So now it's telling us that, hey, our next resistance should have been at this price. And again, this is just a live demonstration of something I've never seen this crypto before in my life. Okay, I've never seen this crypto before in my life, but the same principles that we do day in, day out work. I'm not making it up, right? I'm not making this up. I'm showing you guys live. 17 cents, this angle was telling us the resistance should be about 17 cents. And if we break above 17 cents, we should be bullish. So we could draw circles here. So I know that if I was buying on the bottom side and just say I paid whatever the low price was, and just say I was buying along the bottom, it's 3 cents, I could sell it for 17 cents and know that might be a good time to take profit. If price was somewhere in the middle and somebody asked me, hey Jay-Song, should I get out right now? Should I take profit? Is there a real reason? I could say, well, our major resistance is up at 17 cents. And as long as we don't have a real strong reason to go down from here, we may want to reach out to take profit at 17 cents based on our larger key angle. Okay, these key angles help us understand where the bottoms and where the tops are predominantly. And if you don't know how to do this, just read this like a range. It's a thick block. When price comes into the blocky area, get out. Okay, if the bottom is is not so clear, but it's also a range, then just trade that as a bottom when you're somewhere in that range to start taking action on one side or the other. And when we're at the top side, we take action one side or the other. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Especially to the newer people. I know I said this is not a tutorial, but it is a little bit of a demonstration of how some of these principles work. Okay. So the next step, I know, can you put in the chat if it is making sense, or am I just speaking nonsense? Okay. If prices are building above some of these angles, and again, we can calculate the price every single day just by, if I go to the left of tomorrow, see, this is a weekly chart. We know this because the sign says 1 in the background. And I also told it 1W right here in the lower left-hand corner. So that means that each one of these weeks is another candle. Each candle is 1 week. So this whole week. The whole week will form one candle, and then when next week starts, it's going to be another candle, and the next week and another. That's how that kind of works. But if I wanted to calculate the price, I can just move my dot to next week and then move it straight up till it touches the line. So if I know that the line touches here next week, I know that for the week of January 13th, the price is 11 cents as the resistance. And I can calculate the liberal side as well. That price would have been 16 cents. Now 16 cents already hit it, so I'm not expecting it to hit again, but that's where and how we can calculate a price. I can also calculate the lower price by duplicating and making one of these little price notes and bringing them down. Price notes, by the way, can always be found here in the toolbar under, if you don't have it already, under annotation. Okay, under your annotation, one says price label right there. Okay, I hold it down and add to my favorites. Okay, but that's how I know the lower price is closer to 2.7. All right. So now more immediately, I think the question, let's see if the question I was asked says, Jason, can you please add this crypto formerly known as UTrust? It was recently added to the ANA registry. And this message was, looks like from JR. So glad to help you, JR. So this might be something you need to know, understand. So is this, now that we have this information, how can we use this to our advantage? Let's ask a few basic questions of our studio audience here at home. And by studio audience, I mean you guys, my friends live. Is this crypto going up or going down? Going up or going down, my friends? Dave says it's going down. Dave says it's going down. What do you guys think? Is he right? It's going down. He's right. Look at the oscillation. Once you start understanding the tops and bottoms, you won't see something that's not there. Okay? Now we can use this reverberations more recently like we did from last week or Wednesday and put it at some of the other areas, such as the smaller energy centers here. Okay? Here's the smaller energy center. So I did the larger one, the extremities, and that's great. But there's also these smaller ones that give us a lot of information as well, both on wick and on core side. So on the wick side, on the core side, if we take our angle, our phantom angle or duplication, and I bring it to the meaty portion back here, it's going to take and tell me more information about the resistances that should happen. It's also telling me, therefore, resistances at that time should have been here at 13 cents. So I got the big one and I got the smaller ones in between just because I have the key. Once you have the key, it unlocks a lot of things. So we did a whole class on Wednesday about reverberations, and it was a refreshing look at reverberations. But I kept feeling like I needed to teach more about reverberations. Okay? Sorry. I felt like I needed to teach more about reverberations, so I ended up going that route. Don't hate the trader, hate the game. One moment. I bumped into my microphone and it's changing my microphone. All right, there we go. Okay, so the next reverberation would have been along this structure here. Let's finish up this structure here. The reverberation should be approximately here. Now there's two places we can draw those, at the meaty part and at the wick side. And if I drew both, it's going to give differences in these areas. So prices were able to overcome, and that reverberation isn't a strong one. Okay, that's good. Now, one of the ways I can know if price is going to continue going down, let's give it just maybe 5 more minutes to this one. One of the ways we can tell price is going to go down with a more stronger force is we're going to be looking at the volume. One of the ways we can do is look at our RSI. If I pull up the RSI and I'm looking on the top side as we're going down, I'm going to be looking for momentum to be high. Okay, if the momentum is high, especially if it's higher than the previous, even though the wave is lower, I'm going to be looking for a strong movement down. To highlight some of this, let's quickly show you what I mean. If this is the move that's a wave down, and this is a wave down, we can see that wave 1 is much higher than wave 2. But in the RSI, the relative wave 2, the relative wave 1 is much lower than relative wave 2. So this is 1, this is 2. So this one's coming down, this one's going up. So this tells me that the indicator is ready to fire price in a very fast way. The indicator will fire price, and price will fire the indicator, and that's how you can use them. So I like times when I see a lot of this strong divergence to the upside in a downtrend, because it tells me price, when it goes down, is going to get slammed down. So all we have to do to trade that is simply hunt the down move. If price is going down, we hunt the fish going the wrong way. So if I know I'm in a downtrend already, where's price going the wrong direction? It's going the wrong direction right there. When it's going up, that's the wrong direction. So once the weakness appears, we're okay to continue trading. And you can see how quickly it goes down in this area. Okay, you can see how quickly it goes down in that area because the momentum is behind it. So this is how we can use this technique to our advantage. Now the reason I bring that up is because right now I don't have I have prices at the same area, but RSI is not pulled back even stronger. So it's not a super bearish move at the moment. But if RSI was stronger and moving up, we can and we have a weakness, I would be viewing that as a great opportunity to get out, as a great opportunity to possibly short, and if the whole thing were flipped upside down, I would be looking for it as an opportunity to buy if it was an uptrend. But it's not an uptrend, it's a downtrend, so the exact opposite applies. Okay, so right now it's not a strong incentive that it's going to fall. Okay, so that's something that we can use. That's something that we can't use at the moment, but I like to show you how we can use it when it's time to use it. Another thing we want to look for is in the volume. It could signal something that may be happening, trying to be happening, or something that's dangerous. In this example, okay, let me see, we have unusually high volume, super high volume. Now, I like super high volume when it's an area of weakness. Okay, when it's an area of weakness or resistance, generally this signals a high distribution time. Okay, but we're gonna need to compare it to a few different areas. Now, in a downtrend, we come up on this really high up bar that has wicks on both sides, and we come down for the next few weeks. When we had this up bar on the week of December 9th, the volume was the highest it's ever been. So a lot of trading is happening here. Now, because we're in a downtrend and we're in an area of resistances, it's very possible that this may be some selling that's going on an individual bar. There may be some distributions happening here in this area, and that could be a bad thing for price. However, if the move is into health, we may see that it might have been pushing. So I'm going to show you why that might be. Okay. Now, you remember that I showed you we had round structure here and some here. If we were draw the angle and price is able to get, if price is down here to go up, it has to go past those round structures. Has to go past those round structures. So one of the ways it's going to happen, this happens for almost every crypto, by the way. If it's going to happen, it has to happen on strong volume, meaning they know somebody's going to be taking profit right here, okay, right at that resistance. So to keep it higher or to keep the momentum going, sometimes they have to throw a lot of money. Sometimes you have to buy it and buy it up just to keep prices high so that you appease these people who would normally take profit. Because when they know that the top is here more recently, they're going to take some profit. So sometimes that high volume is something we call push-in volume. And the way we're going to determine that is if it's going to be really high. So just because we see high volume in an area of resistance doesn't all mean it's selling, but it could be. Some of that volume may have been just right in that bar to get us over. Now the big clue is that this bar has wicks on top and bottom. So this may not exactly be selling. So this is a clue. We got wicks on top and bottom. This may be the clue that this is not distribution, okay? Or maybe not distribution, okay? I won't save this image, but you guys can remember or watch this video, okay? So if I see that, I'm gonna say, oh, maybe it's not all dumping, okay? But sometimes it is. We just need to know in the placement. So we know there's a big roof, and if there's gonna be some dumping, it's gonna be there. But it also could be some buying because the money. So there's reasons it could be selling and reasons it could be buying, and we have to decipher which is which. Okay, now to decipher which is which, it would make a lot of sense why there's a lot of money flowing there, or volume, the biggest and most that we've almost ever had in the history of this crypto on Binance. Okay, we're going to have to look to see what happens next. Next, there needs to be support here. And so far, there has been 1, 2, and 3. So it might have been pushing volume. Okay, reasons to sell up there, reasons to stay above and push here. So this tells us this is the activity. It doesn't tell us exactly what it is. The colors, they only just reflect that candle, okay? Now, the next clue that we have that this is going to be what happens next. If we are able to stay above these prices, 8 cents or around this area, 8 to 7 cents, that's going to tell us what type of volume it may have been, okay? If we immediately come into the next weakness, we know it was dumping, they're dumping holding. But I'm going to show you one more thing we can use as the clue to determine what's going to happen. and I'll show you. I'll hide my drawings and I'll pull up the volume. One of the other ways we can tell if we're about to change positions is we move into health, which we know the health is up there, a little higher, just a little bit higher, but this is already one health. But the other way we can conclude is what price is incentivized to do. And I'll tell you what it's incentivized to do. We were here last time, not so long ago. Yes or no? Play with me just a little bit more longer. The price was 14 cents. So why dumping now if we were here and they could have dumped it then? Why didn't they dump it then? Did they dump it then? I'll tell you. Look at the volume. Here the volume was almost nothing. Okay? So why didn't they dump it then? If they were really going to dump it at 14 cents, why all of a sudden now they're dumping it? Is it really just that wick? How much people got to participate if it was just a quick wick? And what happens when we challenge multiple areas on increased volume? What does that mean? What do I often teach? Does anybody remember? Somebody who's paying attention. What does it mean when we challenge an area multiple times yet the volume's increasing? What does it mean? Somebody tell me. Give a man a fish, he eats a day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for a lifetime. Try to remember some of these principles that I'm sharing with you because you're going to need them when you're millionaires and billionaires, so you're not being taken advantage of by your Uncle Joe or your cousin Vinny. Okay?
That's a good one.
Thank you. What does it mean when we see price challenge and the volume's increasing? The volume is increasing. What does it mean?
New investors?
New money's coming in. Yeah, that could be one. I usually teach a basic thing. I draw something on the chart in the upper right-hand corner. What do I draw and why? Testing demand, pushing, close.
Pushing volume?
It may indicate pushing volume is going to come, and it may, in this case, it may have already happened, but it's not exactly pushing. I usually draw something in the upper end corner. Some of you guys remember me draw a white circle, and I put something in that circle.
No demand?
No.
About demand?
No. It has something to do with the
Right.
type of demand. See if any other guesses? What do I draw in that circle? That might jog your memory. I try to draw pictures of art to help you. The answer is I draw an up arrow like this. Anybody remember me draw that? When I see the volume challenging higher places on higher volume, that tells us the market's moving in harmony. That means there's a market up here. People are willing to pay higher prices. People are willing to pay higher prices. So that means that we're eventually going to see higher prices. That's generally what that means. If I challenge this again and the volume's even higher, that means we're going up. But the very fact that I challenged this twice tells me we're generally going to come back here at least once more because there's too much money up there. There's too much of a market up there. Either there's somebody orders that need to get filled, or the demand has switched and nobody's interested in the lower market anymore. Now there's two ways we can understand that's going to happen, and there's higher prices. One of the ways is to look for a buying campaign on the down move, meaning as price was coming down, we want to see a ramping up or increase in the volume as we came down. Did we see a change as we started coming down? Yes, we did. I'll show you where. The first time we came down, let me see if I can make these really big. Okay. The first time that price came down, nobody was interested. They're not interested. The second time that we came down, what's happening with the volume? So we come down here, what's happening with the volume? Volume going up or going down? Do you see the difference? Is it possible that the professionals are entering? Because remember, professionals have to enter on down moves, down bars, and generally in down trends. Can you see what they're doing? The professionals are entering the market. So that would make sense now why we see something like what we're seeing. It only makes sense when we put the whole story together. The volume is increasing. Money is entering into the market. So there's more of a incentive for them to drive it up. And that was a clue. All I had to know was to see this unusually high volume on the challenge to know I need to investigate further here. If I didn't see that, I wouldn't even be really cared about that. But because I see that, I'm going to look for the campaign. Here's the campaign. They're starting to buy. Now they're entering the market. So the professionals are entering here. Professional. I'm not even sure if that's how you spell professional. It's probably wrong. I'm not a professional speller. But the professionals are entering, and they're not going to give it up so easy. There's a high demand for it. So they know where to strike. So in this case, I'm going to be looking for health. All right, so if I'm looking for health, I'm going to look for it to go high. I have two options. I can buy at the last health, which is going to be here, okay, at 8 cents, which is where we're at today. I can also buy above the line, which is, and if it's next week, it's going to be 16 cents. So I can either pay 8 cents or 16 cents. If I don't want to pay 16 cents, that's double the price. Are you paying for security? Okay. I can also pay the next time I come down for my next health. Let's see where the next health would be. It would be possibly a flat. I don't have time to teach this right now, but it's, if we're still going down the last event, yeah, that's that one. The last event would be actually a flat. So we may challenge one more time to these lower prices. I don't think we're going to get there, but I'll put them on the board. I may want to pay 3 cents. I may want to pay 8 cents, and I may want to pay 16 cents for this if it's going to be going up. But I definitely want to start looking for the health. The safer entry is 16. 8 cents, not so safe. 3 cents might be good. We may get one more challenge, and then we can go up. But generally, these stocks don't churn on a dime, and this is a weekly chart, so we got lots of time to play out, and we can investigate even the smaller a little bit further, but this is going to be enough for today as far as a short demonstration, okay, of some of these things. So we can look at it again. If you want to look at it again in the future, let me know, but UTK has reasons why it may come up. We may have to draw some of the smaller watch lines. We have some reasons why this may want to come down. One more watch line is going to be somewhere about right there, okay, which is still where we're at, a little bit further down, okay? The 8 cents. So anywhere here. Now, if the 8 cents doesn't hold and I don't get the bounce, that's another reason where we're going to go down a little bit further. I'm going to try to get it for these lower prices, that 3 cents area, okay? Do I have any other questions right now? There's a lot to teach. There also is a smaller parabolic, yeah, here. So we may have a clue that it's going up next week, and I will just set an alert to let me know if I need to look at it again just next week. My alert will be somewhere about right there. Okay, look again. Okay, anyone else? Why would this be the X coin? Somebody asked, why would this be an X coin? I don't know. I didn't say it was an X coin. Did somebody say it was?
Is this supposed to be U-Trust?
It was U-Trust. It looks like, yeah.
Is this a crypto or a stock? I can't see because I'm on my phone.
It's on Binance, so I'm sure it's going to be a crypto.
How much is it? I'm just...
It is 7, at the moment it's 7 cents, 7.5.
Oh, okay, yeah, U-Trust, it was U-Trust, but now it's called X Money. They just rebranded. U-Trust has rebranded to X Money. I think somebody asked that question.
Okay. Do you know anything about it?
It's some type of payment system, and it uses many cryptos, it seems. A lot of cryptos, but I looked at all the cryptos that I researched it, and they all look like they're on the ANA registry.
Does that look like, does it sound to you like Ellen?
It's like a payment app where you can, there's hardly no friction and there's no loss, but you could pick like any crypto you want to pay with. So you could pick XLM, XRP, you could pick Algo, you can pick quite a few. It's some type of payment system, which I thought it was weird because Elon has a new payment system coming out, and he's calling it X space money, just X money. And this is made by Multiverse, which is, you know, that coin called Multiverse? That is part of that system. But it is on the ANA registry, so if it's on the ANA registry now, then it's worth like looking at and keeping an eye on it.
Yeah.
And what else? I saw on Twitter that Chartroom, they have a Twitter account, and they only follow 560 people, and they follow this thing. They follow U-Trust. Like Chartroom is following U-Trust, then we should probably follow U-Trust too. We should keep an eye on it, which is now X Money. Which, I don't know if Elon Musk is going to use this, but it seems pretty interesting. Because Elon Musk, his new payment system is called X Money.
Okay.
That he's, in the next few months, he has to, I don't know, he's making a payment system for Twitter.
See, anyone try to get ahead of that curve on what they're going to use, you're going to know you're going to probably be successful just from the news alone. Okay. All right. The next crypto we'll look at BGB. For BGB, I have two large round structures that I'm primarily looking at. This one's a little bit harder to catch because of the shapes. It's almost like that. But overall, the structure is round, and this structure is round. So these two are our major energy centers, or the center is more closer to actually this one right there and right here. Okay, if we're being more exact. Now, when we put these two together, and I put these angles, the reason I'm drawing this is because if we take that angle and we bring it up to the top energy centers, especially the ones that are in between these two, okay, and that's going to be this one right there, okay, then that's going to tell me that we can be looking along this curvature. So if I take this key, duplicate it, place it here at the top energy centers there, it's going to give me some verifications. Now, it told me here, and it told me here, these should be tops, and they are. Okay, so this is telling me that the primary oscillation right now is here. Now, if I were to DP project it, all I have to do is duplicate the distance between here and bring it to the downside, or take another angle and bring it to the downside by taking that distance and moving it to the downside. So when I do, I can bring it here and I can know if I'm getting some verification. And I'm getting a verification pretty nicely. And here's the thing, I didn't catch, actually this one I didn't actually catch. I actually just drew it here, but it just happens to be the 50% from here to here approximately, okay? So this is the same method. It can be verified forward and backwards, but if we were to try to capture that bottom for the bottom side, to capture that exact bottom, we may want to use that DP projection here. Now, I will say that I drew it on the top side here just a few minutes ago to try to capture this with my eyes. Once I have two structures, I can again take that distance from the top side to the bottom side within the oscillation and bring it either here or to the top side. And in both cases, it should tell me where we're going. So I know primarily that if price is playing in this area as its oscillation, and we break out to the downside, we might be actually looking to hit there, which we did. And if we break out to the top side, we're going to be looking to hit along this track. Now, this is dynamic positive, which means that the price that could be calculated goes up. So if I were to calculate that exact high price for the day, it would have been $4.17. But it's dynamic positive, meaning the longer it takes, the more higher or more money that is available on the table, all the way up to 430. So if price were to take its sweet time, there's even more money on the table, such as $2.59. But you can just go to any individual day and go straight up until you hit your line, and that's how you can now calculate where the resistance primary should be and where you should be going. Now, this also gives me another bit of information, because if price breaks above these areas, it tells me we may even be going into some new territory. The territory may have been beginning here, okay, above that 430 number. So this is so far revealing a lot of information. Okay, some of the things we could use to help us. All right, now to go a little bit further into this, what we're going to do next is we're going to try to capture how high we might actually be going and where we might actually be going. Now you can see something is happening here in the smaller sense. This is a daily chart, and this is the candle. Tell me what's wrong with this picture and what I should do about it.
There's a lot of gaps.
There's a lot of gaps. We can see all these little gaps in there. What else do we notice that's wrong about this picture? Let's look a little closer at some of these candles. What do you notice
They're
is
very small.
They're very small. Look how yeah, go ahead, House.
And there's no wicks on them. They're just...
When prices are really blocky and there's no wicks, something's wrong. When there's only wicks, there's something wrong. When you start seeing that, you're going to know by experience that this is wrong. Okay, you're going to know that this is experience. Look, we come up, we come down. A lot of manipulation can happen because this means something. When there's all these little gaps and the candles are all over the place, what does it mean for trading, and then how can we fix it?
It's volatile.
It's very volatile. It tells us very volatile. Yes, go ahead.
Let's look at a weekly chart.
Let's look at a weekly chart. So this is 1D, so that means every candle, every day, there's a 1-day chart. That means every day one of these new candles is forming. So here's a day, here's a day, here's a day, here's a day. But look at the candles are all over the place. It's very volatile. It also means something else. Let's see if I'll give you 10 more seconds, see if anyone knows it. Jeff?
Low volume bill.
That's what I was looking for. I was looking for low market cap, or I'll take the words like low volume. It's basically there's not enough activity happening. And these are the cryptos that can be easily swayed because there's not so much good stuff about them. But the solution is basically, as what we heard, we need to go to a higher time frame where the candles make sense. Now back then they may make sense and we can use those, but when they stop making sense, that means there's some weird funny stuff going on and we need to change to a higher time frame. There's a lot of candles that look funny over the time, and we're going to find it. Now here's a weekly chart, and it makes a little bit more sense. There's still a little awkwardness, but it tells me we should primarily be concerned with a higher time frame. Okay. So on this higher time frame, if prices come down, I can calculate where that support might be. The support might be next week. I'll go to next week's bar in here. So I changed this to 1 week. That means each candle is 1 week worth of time. I know the support might be $4.98. So if I'm going to buy this anyway, I may want to pay $4.98. Otherwise, I'm probably just chasing the candle. Unless I have a reason to buy it, I'm chasing the candle. I don't want to chase candles because we're not candle chasers. We're not clout chasers. We're not candle chasers. I think if you're a YouTuber, you can be a clout chaser. Let's now see if we can find anything else about this particular thing. All right, I'm gonna go to, since we don't have much structure to go off of, okay, since we have very limited structure, we're gonna probably have to use some of those time frames that are smaller, but this is something we just want to try to generally avoid. Okay, I'm gonna try now to see if we can locate in the volume some things that might be happening. Okay, did we have a large campaign of buying? And when I look at that, to see if there's a campaign of buying, I want to see if professionals were entering, and I also want to see generally the furthest time frame I can go. Now in Bitfinex on UST, I got that far. That was on UST. Here is on USD. It looks almost the same, and it goes back that far as well. Okay.
So go on BitGet, because I've been able to see this crypto at like in 2021, I think it was like 4 cents or 5 cents.
Okay.
So that should take you. Try BitGet.
I got 11 cents in 2022 on BitGet. Let's see if I can go farther. The USDP, I don't generally use that one. Nope. Okay. On my BitGet here, from this data feed, only got that far. Let's see, there's some other BitGets. Maybe USDC is going to give it to me.
My personal conviction with these tokens that are owned by the exchanges is that the exchange keeps steadily buying the most of their token, and then they just sell them in bull rallies.
Yeah, House, I don't have that one just yet. I do apologize, but I do got the farthest volume, and I'm going to use this USD one to give me a good baseline for what's going on. Now the volume is not really clear, but I do have individual bars, so I'm going to try to go back to a daily chart, and I'm going to try to read some of the trends that I may see in the volume. Now, what I'm looking for is a buying campaign. A buying campaign is when professionals target a crypto on a down move. That means that when price is going down during some of these down moves, as it's going down, I look for high volumes primarily, especially into health, like this one, okay? So this high volume here may suggest that money's coming in the market in these areas. Okay, sometimes we'll put a little arrow to denote this. I won't take too much time, but I'm just going to point some of this out. The next time, so we'll look for high volume, is generally on the down moves into the next weakness. So here I have some more down prices at the pullback, and that's when I see a lot of the volume coming in. But yet we came into health at the shortcut, and here we have our health. So this may tell me money's coming in. So I have buying coming in here, buying coming in here, possible buying coming in. Is there any other times where I might see that coming in? Maybe right here on this down move, I see lots of strong high volume. As we dip into the volume, yet we still come into health. And I'm seeing lots of volume here on these down moves. And then maybe this one right here is your push. We got the really high strong volume right there, yet we come into health and we clear that. Sorry, we clear it right there. So this might be a buying campaign. Professional money is in here. All right, so that's great and all, Song. I'm glad to see that professionals made some money. How can I use that to help me? Okay, The answer is, when we observe a buying campaign, what are we looking for next when price is really high in the sky? Does anybody know, if we saw professionals get in, what are we looking for when price is really high in the sky? What's some of the things we might...
Out.
That's right. Did you hear what he said? Say it again, House.
Professionals getting out.
That's correct. If you notice that the big players are coming in, you want to understand when they're getting out. You want to try to catch when they're going to get out. And you want to know what to look for when they're getting out. And you want to know this so yet you don't get blindsided. When they get in, it shows up in the volume. When they get out, it's also going to show up in the volume. Okay? And there's a few ways we can look for that. We can look for large up moves on really strong distribution. Okay, that means when price goes up, we can look for really high volume into weakness. So if I see some really high volume, yet price goes into weakness, I know it's possibly time for prices to fall. They're getting out, and you should get out too. However, if I see high volume, but we keep going into health, that's another sign that markets are still going up. One other way we can view this as well is if we see these shorter down moves, if I see prices going high, like they are high right now in the sky, but I see a pullback, and the pullback is on declining volume, I know that the professionals are not interested in getting out yet. Okay, I'm going to say that again. If I see price goes high in the sky and price pulls back, but nobody is interested in getting out. We don't see it in activity. They're not interested in dumping because they're going to have to dump some of those prices along the way. They're going to have to get out, jumping ship, right? But I don't see them jumping ship. If we don't see them jumping ship, what does it mean? If we don't see them getting, like right now, look, okay, we're high in the sky, price came down a little bit, but are the professionals jumping out? You tell me.
No.
That's right.
Just a correction.
What did you say, Dave?
It's just a correction.
Just a correction. That's correct. It tells us with a higher degree of confidence that we might be looking at a correction. Now, we can never predict anything. But we can stack the odds in our favor by trying to read the available data and make an educated decision. We are not gamblers. You may be at the casino right now, Christina, but we're not gamblers. We're not like you. I'm just kidding. We're not people that roll the dice. I love to roll the dice in a board game, but use a board game to get out your rolling the dice. In real life, we make educated decisions because you don't want to develop being a gambler or a gambler mentality. Okay? We don't bet it all on red, but even a farmer can bet it all on corn and take a risk. But if they don't know what they're doing, they don't know how to read the seasons. They don't know how to read some of these things that they read to understand the depth of the soil, the seed, the time, the harvest. They can also be gamblers. Anyone in real estate could be a gambler. Anyone in any market can be a gambler. You can be gambling on taking a job even. What you can do is stack the odds in your favor. So let's look at the odds. Right now, the odds are telling us that the professionals are not out. So should we be out? No. So should we probably be holding on? Probably. Okay, probably. So we don't want to be looking to get out right now. We want to be looking for higher prices and looking for signs when they jump ship, then we can start jumping ship. Okay, and so according to my analysis of this crypto, although I don't have any larger targets right now in the sky, I can say that I probably want to hold on for the next acceleration. Okay, I will give you one more thing about this crypto, and I will do this based on some of my star method gesture category. Okay, so let's do this. Oops, clear all my lines. Oh wait, I don't need to, yeah.
If it gets done a massive pump, I wouldn't be interested in trying to get in at these prices anyway.
Okay, I might be looking for prices to hit closer to 11 cents possibly as a next big top based on a much larger DP projection based on the current oscillation. That might be one of the things unfolding. The next support I also have for you, if you're going to try to jump on this train, it's closer to 456. This is a hard train to jump on, moving straight up, but I definitely probably wouldn't take profit just yet. But that at $11 is where I might be looking for them to make their next move. Okay, any other questions, comments for me regarding B? All right, we will go to the next crypto. Tommy says XRP just had a wick 252. Good. Okay, the next one we're going to look at Node. Is this a stock, Armin? Is Armin here? A crypto?
Got it on Coinbase.
Okay, is this Node AI?
Yeah, Node AI.
Okay, that's going to be GP. Yeah, I'm working here. I got GPU for Node AI. Is that the one? Yeah. I got it on Polynex and MEX. 139. MEX got 139, and then Polynex got 144. Which is the one you're looking at? It's probably the same. No problem. Polynex looks like it's very widespread, and let me check MEX to see if it's the same. It looks like the same, but it's got farther data. I'm gonna confirm this. Polynex we got to June of 2024. Is this fairly new?
Yeah, it's a new one. It's a new one, and let's see the price. No, but the price is 0.0076.
0.007.
Yeah, Nodely AI.
Nodely. Okay. I got 0.084 in Wrapped Ether.
Okay.
You want me to do that one?
Well, let's try that.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I got Nodely AI. That's good. 0.0084. It moved up 16% the last day. Okay, it looks like it's been around since September, at least.
Very well.
Okay, so let's look at this, and we'll add that one. I got very limited data to work with, but let's see what I can extract. Not a huge incentive to the downside just yet, and possibly if I had some round structure, that might be even good for some higher prices. Let's see what else. Let's see what the volume is showing, if I have anything. It's very interesting. I have really high volume into a smaller health, but I don't trust these large up bars that have very high volume here. There is some decline on that volume, but it may, I just don't like that it's all on that top volume. No, this one's a little spread out. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, I just wish I had a place to look for the weakness. All right, I'm gonna use what I got. Right now, I don't like the high volume into this weakness area. I don't like that just yet. I'm gonna hide my histogram. We did come down though on very strong lack of interest. So that's probably a clue that this is not a distribution campaign just yet. I just don't like this. Now, when we challenged the first time and the second time, there was high volume on both accounts. So that's a good sign there's still market up in the sky for us for higher prices. And then the other clue is going to be this weakness. This weakness didn't have a strong push or anything like that. And the move down also is on lack of interest. So this is a good sign that we're probably not experiencing a large bearish move, and there's probably just a test for higher prices, and these are people chasing candles. There's still a lot of room for the markets to go up. So
it's probably not the right one. It's probably not the right one. Maybe you can catch it another time, because I only put $50 in it, and it's exploded to like $1,500 in about a month or two. So it's gone just parabolic up.
It's a Nodely with the LY?
It's NODELYAI.
Yeah. So this is, I would say this is it. It's just measured in Wrapped Ether. You may be looking on USDT. So the prices won't be the same, but you could use some of these data to navigate whatever price you actually are trading for whatever crypto or exchange you're using. So if it's in USDT, generally it's going to be a little bit different. But this is...
It's gone down just recently. It had exploded up. I guess I got in real early or something.
Yeah, I would say. So I'm going to say with limited data, this looks like it looks healthy. It's not a major weakness. I don't see the big strong push into weakness. I just see its pullback on lack of interest, which means that the professionals are not dumping it. There's still a market for higher prices. I'm going to be looking for higher prices. Now, because of that, I'm going to show you what I'm looking for. We're going to draw the watch line, the current watch line, so you know when it's time for it to go up again. I have a core here that might be flat. We draw flat. So you might want to be looking to enter above those prices. So you can use some of this when price is here. You can either set an alert for yourself if you want and I'll put the price up for you on this Wrapped Ether, and then you'll know when it's time to take action on your own chart. 0.016 cents in Wrapped Ether. Once it's get above there, you may want to look for prices to rise. So that's something. And let's see what else. If it takes a real long time, you may want to use the wick side. I'm not going to hold my breath. I think the flat is going to have it. Okay, if you're looking for a support based on this last flat, you're probably going to be looking somewhere in here at, you're probably looking for it to come down a few more days, 0049 on wrapped ether, and you can set an alert for yourself there, and wherever your exchanges you may want to get some when it's closer to there. But yeah, I'm still seeing a strong incentive. Now if they challenge it again to 16 cents and you see even more higher volume, or you still see a lot of volume, then look for it to break through and break out into higher prices. But this is going to be some of my thing that I see in the, based on the volume and this giving this limited data. Okay, any other questions, Mike, comments, thoughts?
Thank you, Jason.
No problem. All right, and then we'll get a proper key angle that we can use for this. Now let's move to the next one, FTNT. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna pull up a weekly chart because the chart is a little bit messy. We got a lot of stuff to work with here. This is good. Okay, I like all the data. We go back all the way to 2010. Lots of round structure. You can easily see that what should have been strong weakness was not weakness. If I collect these three areas together, the real weakness should have happened right there. Okay? But we went down, came right back up, went down, came right back up, came down, came right back up. We're not ready. I would be surprised if a secondary buying campaign happened here, meaning on the down move, we saw a strong increase in volume on this down move because the move came into health. I wouldn't be surprised. And then I would look to see that we had strong volume and then a no demand situation here in the volume. I want to see high volume increase and I want to see no demand there, and that tells us that we really are ready to rise. Okay, let's look. That's hard to read. Let's see if I can smooth that out with the 2 week and turn back on our histogram. There we go. All right, so let's see what we got. On the down move, is there an increase in volume? Yes, we got this one. Check. Strong increase in volume. Here's the volume, okay, on the down move into health. So that tells me there's a buying campaign coming on. Now, generally when I'm marking it on a map, and I'm not just giving a video lesson, we'll mark it here, but sometimes sometimes I won't. But I'm just going to do this right now. Buying coming in, okay, just putting one of the arrow, buying coming in. And we can put weekly chart, just so we remember where we looked at. So the buying came in, good. The next, I'm looking for the next challenge. As we came down this last time, okay, we came down. What happened with the volume? The volume was ramping up. We were experiencing, again, high volume, okay? So the volume was here, then the volume is here. There's still strong volume. So what does this tell me? There's probably going to be one more challenge to the downside, and that's right there, right? So that's why that explains this one, okay? Now, I love this. I'm telling you guys live. I'm telling you like how it happens. I'm showing you guys how it actually works, how they do it. Okay, so we saw the ramping up, we saw the buying coming in. Now the high volume tells us that when we challenge this again, this area again, right there on October 23, they had high volume still. So that high volume or increase tells me they're going to challenge it a third time, probably. Okay, makes it more odds higher. But when we challenge it this third time on number 3, the volume on those down bars was lower or considerably lower than some of these higher moves that we were experiencing. See, here to here. So we got the decrease. So that might be construed as no demand, or they just bought enough. So they bought some here, they bought some again here, and they may have bought a little bit here, but generally I'm looking for the buying on the down bars specifically. Now, if I look carefully, you can see that a lot of these down bars were actually much lower volume. And therefore, this large up move into health was what? That one was pushing. Okay? So that was actually pushing volume. And that's a good sign. That means they're throwing money at it because now they want it to rise. So that's a good sign for continuation. Now, because I saw all those three things, and I showed them to you, and I showed you what I was expecting even before I looked at this stock. I've never looked at this stock before. Did you guys see that? I've never seen this stock. I don't even know what it is. Okay? I didn't even know if it was a stock or not. But we can do this live because we know what to look for. And if we know what to look for, it can help us stack the odds in our favor. I looked for the professionals coming in. I looked for to see if there was still high volume that would help explain. If there's less volume, then they launched a buying campaign. Now, all this tells me is that there's a secondary buying campaign that happened here, because this is all where we should have saw weakness. But instead, while other people are panicking, the professionals are getting in. They got in. They're already done. They told themselves, "Yep, we dried up the Nile. We dried up the Nile." So the next thing we look for is health. Here's the health that's supposed to come in. There's the resistance up here. There's the resistance, so the health needs to come here. It came in on high volume, pushing. That means on purpose, right? There on July of 2024. So this tells me, with a high degree of confidence, that they got in on purpose. They bought in a second time. This is going to see higher prices. So if I have this, I'm not looking for it to dump. I'm looking for it to go up. Even though there's some weakness, I'm going to be looking for it to slow down a bit, but not to dump. Okay. So with that said, we can now calculate this is going higher. So let's remove these, and I'll put that white arrow again, and then I'm going to draw my reminder to myself that I'm looking for higher prices because of what I've seen sometime in the future. If I'm going higher, how high should I go? Let's see if we can calculate. I'm going to go now to a monthly chart. Some stocks you can go to monthly, and I just want to confirm something. I'm probably looking at a flat target. It's messy, but I got some wicks here, some cores to the top side in here. It's a little bit of a range, but it also matches the bottom and maybe the wick side. So for right now, I'm going to be a little conservative and say that this is my mid phantom, this is one of my phantoms, and this is the other. Okay, one of them is going to be like a key angle. It's the same principle, but in this new method, what we're doing is we're taking a lot of the mid phantom transformation techniques with us. If this is our mid phantom, we can get a top and we can get a bottom by just measuring the distance from here to here and bringing it on top. And now we know where we're supposed to start, where we're supposed to go next. So I'll show you with more accuracy. Let's do this on purpose now. I'm going to take this trend line from the top to the bottom, bring it back to the top, and with a higher degree of confidence, we now know price may be looking to hit $1. Current price is $94. Professionals secondary campaign. Secondary buying campaign explained in today's video, and I'll put the date, January 11th, 2020. So I'm going to be looking for this to hit higher. Okay. Does anybody have any other questions for me right now regarding some of these things?
Jason?
Yeah. Yeah.
We foresee pullback before it go higher based on the chart. Is there any data?
I'll look closer. I don't think so, but I will check. Lower prices back to 74 could act like a support in our more immediate thing. We can also use that to help us view some weaknesses as they start to happen. Underneath 74 might be bearish, and above 74 might be bullish or a bullish vortex. Okay, based on this one, that one, and that one. Okay, that might be a nice pocket. If we fall into 74, I'm still going to be looking for us to barrel through 121. Let's go to a more smaller chart. See if I see any more immediate pullbacks. Let's go back to the daily. No, I don't really see any evidence. Even in the smaller charts, you got these smaller pullbacks that are on lack of interest. Even this move here, from here to here, is on lack of interest. Yeah. You still see the volume test though on these up bars. See that one right there? Still on high volume. When we test up, it's on high volume. Yet the move that's down or the move that's stagnant itself, and the macro is still on lack of interest. Yet why are they testing? It's because they're really not interested in dumping. They're still interested in bringing it higher. I would be bullish this one even on the smaller time frames right now. Probably. Yep. Yeah, don't have too much more than that for this one. Okay. All right. Any other questions for me? Questions, comments, Jeff, or anyone else interested in this one?
Thank you, Jeff.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Let's go to the next one, which is AERO. Here, Abba said it will have a move down. I hear benchmark, aka support numbers. Settlement also here. Abba saying $5, $6, $7 as it will be a 1, 2, 3 move. It will move down to $1. Right now, it's at $1. Triple J. Triple J, are you there?
I'm here.
And did you hear that? That's pretty good.
No, I did not hear.
I'll just put $1 hit. Triple J.
What's that?
This is a crypto called AERO. It looks like you said it was gonna.
Oh, yeah.
You would have a move back down to $1. It was at 290. Oh no, not 290. 230, and it did come back down to $1. We haven't hit any of the $5, $6, $7. So one day, but you said you would have a move down, and I hear benchmark support numbers. It is a settlement move. I wonder what that might mean. Maybe it's linked to an XRP settlement, which is more information about the Ripple case stuff going on. I thought it was all done, but there's a lot more.
Iris from Base.
Oh, okay.
It's Base from Coinbase wallet.
Okay.
I think John can give you a little bit more for that, but from that coin. But that's going to be a really good asset.
Oh, wow.
Hot asset. It's going to be. And honestly, I was praying for the Lord to bring it down so I can buy it. It's a bit expensive. It's going to move when this bull run comes. It's going to be a good asset to have because it's from that Coinbase wallet. Yo, Super, are you here? Soup? You must be sipping on some tea or something like that. Or in the throne.
It's on the throne. Feeding. My dad used to say, I'm going to go and sit on the throne and feed the devil. My dad used to say. Yeah, he said that. Ooh, interesting. Clues, we may be dealing with the flat, and let's do that. Let's do this. So we already had some of the indications in the past, but let's bring it back up. Okay, so if I take the flat, or if I take the old top here, I have a multi-touch flat, 2 tops with structure from AERO, okay? This one and that one, okay? So multi-touch flat, okay? Now, if I take the distance, I'm gonna from the very bottom, and this is just a way that we can verify it forward or backwards. But if I take the distance from here to the bottom, okay, and I measure 50% of the way, I got approximately about here. Now, what I'm going to be looking for is price to respect this line, even if it's going on top and bottom. That's like a respecting and disrespecting. Okay, so what I mean by that is I look for price to bounce on that line, like right here, 2 bounces on the top and bottom. Okay, so that would be an example of verification of this mid 50% level. Now I got a rejection here, right there. Now I got a bounce here and here. So am I having verification for this 50% line? Yes. And even now it's telling me where the support should be. It's coming up in a few days. Okay. So price respecting in and out is 50% of the distance from the top and the bottom and here. So that pointed to the middle level. Sometimes if you have the middle level, it points to the top and the bottom. But whether you read it forward or backwards, it doesn't matter. Price can be read forward and backwards. Okay, it can be verified forward and backwards. In our art, it can be verified on both. Once you have one piece of the puzzle, it basically gives you the other piece of the puzzle. If you have one side of the puzzle and you have the other side of the puzzle, it gives you the middle of the puzzle. Okay, and all puzzles do that, right? If you figure out the puzzle, you can see the shape of the piece you're actually missing, or close to the pieces you might be missing. So this is going to lead us to think. We need to be thinking somewhere down here. All right. So now I have 2 big reasons why I'm looking for $1 to 92 cents, okay, or to the dollar side. And there's one more reason. I'm going to show you what that is right now. I'm going to do it live for you and see if we can get a target there. But what I do right now is I have evidence based on some of these 3 points here, these 3 parabolics in the past, 1, 2, and 3. They form a curvature. And parabolics level out. They don't go all the way around full circle because price doesn't go backwards, but they do level out. And I've already given you that level out around $1. So that's in yellow. And price hit there once, twice, thrice, and coming up possibly to a 4th time. So we can see that the mid phantom is here, and also the leveled out parabolic is here. So I might be actually looking for price to bounce on $1 soon, possibly. Now, is there any evidence? This is an older map, and it's still working really nicely. We did this, looks like I last gave you some of these numbers back in September of 2024. But here we are, all the way to the future, and it's still acting quite nicely. Okay. So, number 1, this is going to give me some information because I know I might be looking for a bounce there. I know I'm going to be looking for, if price builds above here, to go possibly higher. And I know if price falls to its grave, I might be falling to 43 cents. Okay. 43 to 39 cents. So I might be using this to my advantage to know that we're looking for those areas. I can also know that if I'm going to be taking profit, I might be somewhere around $2. Although I might want to combine it with some of the prophetic information that Triple J gave earlier about the $5 for this crypto, $5, $6, and $7. Now, there's one more way we're going to do before I continue. I'm going to use our targeting system to verify if we're looking for a support at $1 or lower. Okay, and then I'm going to show you how to zoom in from there and we can see something. Okay, so I'll come back to that volume. Let me just look at this real quick. This is a good sign. This is a good thing for volume right now. Okay, I'm going to look for, using our target system, I'm going to take our volume target analysis and measure from the lowest bottom to the top in these two areas. So I'm going to put a tool and start here and end here and let it tell me where between there we may be falling to or we're likely to fall to. There's generally 2 to 3 places we get when we do our target system. So here's our fixed range volume profile. I did a whole tutorial about this. It's called target analysis. Volume target analysis. It's in our lessons page, lessons 1 through 17. Okay, so I start here at the bottom. I take my target tool, I click on it. I start at the bottom and then I click. Then I move my mouse to the top there. You can see me putting my mouse here and I'm going to stop there. Now that I did this, it's there. Now all I have to do, I'm going to show you real quick. Okay, I hide price. I'm going to be drawing my targets from the lowest place between the peaks. Okay, we do a whole lesson on this. The lowest place between these peaks is going to be these two areas here. They're about the same, so I'm going to do one target and one target. These are going to be my colors teal. So it's like a bluish green color. You're going to see me draw those there and there, whatever price it is. Okay. The other thing is sometimes we draw these smaller targets if that's all we got. But in this case, I have 2 large peaks, so I'm going to be looking for prices to come down and bounce on those 2 areas, one or the other, or sometimes both. Okay, everybody with me still? Okay. Now the other thing we like to look for is something called swing target. Swing target is when I have the halfway mark between those 2 points. So if this is my peak from here and my other peak, halfway between those is about right there, which means I'm going to be looking for the lower side to be hit. Now when they overlap one target or another, I like to usually favor that target and to favor that side. So since it's approximately on the lower side, I'm going to be looking primarily at that price, whatever price it is. I don't care, I just care where it's at and if I can calculate it. So if price is falling, I'm going to be looking for it to fall to whatever price this is. Oh, and what do you know? Lo and behold, it's $1. Did you see me what I did? Okay. Now how many times today alone have I been showing you stuff happened before it happens, as it's happening in the tutorial where I do this stuff live in front of you. The same stuff we do over and over for the last few years. Getting better and getting better at our art. So we have reason to believe the swing target. The swing target again is the halfway point. It's going to be approximately here and we draw it in pink. Okay, so that swing target is closer to $1. It's actually, let's give you some of the area. It's going to be, just $1. Okay, so average $1. And the target systems that are in teal color, they are here and the lower side there, 80 to 72. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a big bounce at 80 and we even get a spike down to 80 cents. Now, I don't really have a big reason to believe it's 80. I'm going to get that large spike down, but if the markets were bearish yet this crypto is still in position, I'll be looking for it to bounce there. Okay, so in conclusion, with this crypto, we are very close to a support. Does I have any questions? Does I have any questions? Do I have any questions? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I got one. Thanks, Jason, for doing this.
You're welcome, my friend.
So the first time I heard about this crypto, this is more along the lines of a feeling or a prophetic unction. Maybe I felt like it was going to do well, but I don't have it yet. And I just, because once it got up, started going up, it kept going up, oh, I'm not going to catch it up there. And then I just looked at it and I saw that it had dropped. And so I just felt like it was going to be good. So as we look at the chart, would it be okay to zoom out and ask you, maybe you can do a little, do you see the first peak that sort of hits underneath? I don't have the capacity to do that right now, sorry.
Okay, so the first peak before it drop, you mean this one right here?
The first peak from the lowest drop. You see the lowest drop?
Yeah.
The kind of spike down, and then it goes up?
You mean this one right here or the wick?
No, up, the one that goes like almost straight up from the lowest peak to the left. That one, yeah.
Okay, that peak, okay.
Is there a parabolic? Is there a parabolic from there on the top side that might work on the bottom side? Or am I just, is that off? From there going right? From there going forward in the future, like going up.
Oh, going up. Yeah, are you?
Am I stretching that?
He's saying a parabolic, yeah.
That one, right? Is that the one you? Is that when you're seeing somebody's drawing it in yellow?
Yeah, the yellow one is what I'm.
Okay. Yeah, you'd be right. You'd be right. That might be something that's happening here. Some of the clues are that large curve here. The smaller curves add up to larger curves many times. That might absolutely be something right. Remember, guys, take a moment. Listen to what I'm saying. I am not the end all be all. I can see some things, but you guys can see a lot. My goal is to try to train you to see and use the art in your eyes. But everyone's art's a little different, especially when it's abstract. Okay, we can use some of the principles in our toolbox to stack the odds in your favor, but I can't see everything. I can't calculate everything, and I don't want to calculate everything. It's a lot of work. But if you guys put your eyes on it, you can see things we can or catch them, especially if you catch them live. Okay, so here's something, and that might be exactly. So let's see if we can try to draw some of that. So
yeah, thank you.
we're taking some of these. That might be a clue right there. That one, okay, might be a clue that this is the correct parabolic to use. So let's see. Let's go to a yellow, and all right. When we have this, what should we do with it?
Bring it straight down.
We duplicate it, and then we can bring it straight down. So somewhere here, yeah, that's right. Okay, we're going to bring it to the lowest area. Do we have any verifications for it right now? Yes, we do. Got one. When I bring it to the lowest energy center in the area, I got one verification and two. So this might be price is slowing down. Price may get stuck in here for a little bit, right? Okay, it's not the end all be all, but it is a type of weakness. It is a type of weakness. If price really wants to go down, we could take that oscillation and DP it. So if we knew there was a crash coming, we'd probably be focusing on the lower parts down there closer to 50 cents or something like that. Here's 50, here's 47, and here's 60. So somewhere around 50 cents we might be looking if the markets were really bearish. Okay, and if you are in the camp where you're bearish, you want to be looking out to some of those lower possibilities. Okay, price can move within those territories, but along that track. But yes, to show that. Something else we could do, okay, we could say if price is really gonna, let me put that parabolic here. That would have been our first big clue that weaknesses was occurring somewhere right there. Yep. Okay, so somewhere along that curve could say, oh, we might be coming down even further, and that's where we're at right now. So if you're in that camp, now I don't think we're gonna get all the way to the DP down here, but if we did, you would be the first to find it. All right, one more thing I have for you guys about this crypto is I do see this as our current watch line, which means we're going to watch this to know if we're going to buy it or not. Now, you can do one of two things right here. You can either buy because we're at a low. I don't generally do that unless I have a real good reason. In this case, I would say that's probably a good reason. But if I'm not buying right now and I want to be safer or more conservative, I can just wait until the next health appears. The next health will appear on top of this line. So that's why I'm going to move this health just a little to the right of the watch line. And I can also calculate the vortex. Now the vortex is when this watch line is intercepting with this group of areas. So I know that it intercepts somewhere around February 3rd. That means that price cannot just stay here until March. If it stays until March, it's actually in a healthy area. If it comes down, then we know that it's coming down. With a higher degree of confidence, we might be going down to our next support. But whatever the case is, price has to make a decision. Either it's going to break out now and continue up, it's going to stay the same and come into health and go up, or it's going to come to the lower side and go down until the next supports. But it has to make a decision by February 2nd. Okay, so basically the end of the month, you're going to see something new with this price. All right, any other questions, comments regarding this? Are you guys learning things? Are you guys having fun? Okay, I hope I'm trying to make this educational look at the volume right now and tell me what's happening. This down move, we came into this area of weakness, not that high volume bar, that was afterwards, but right there when we just came into it, it was still on relatively average or low volume. And the move down as a whole is on what? Declining volume. The moves up primarily on a whole are on higher volume. There's as long as this is not a major distribution campaign, which when we see the volumes declining, it tells us primarily that the professionals are not interested in getting out. Now this would have been even more increased by in our mind by the fact that if we saw prices rising because there was a buying campaign in the background. Now I didn't check to see if there was a buying campaign in the background. I don't think there is one major buying campaign that I see. No, I don't really see a big major buying campaign. Maybe on individual bars, like maybe that one. But I don't see a large buying campaign. But we go up on the increase in volume and come down. That tells us that the market's harmony move, or the move that it's primarily going up, the primary direction that price should be going is higher, okay? Higher. Because when it's coming down, they're not interested. So this tells us this is probably a correction. So putting it all together, they're telling us price is going the wrong direction here. And it tells us it's going the right direction here. Okay, so wrong direction, right direction. What are we going to do? We're going to hunt the down move. Are we still in the uptrend? Yes, we're still in an uptrend. And in uptrends, we hunt the down move. Here's the down move. From here to here, we hunt it. Okay, there's where our health is. And if we can calculate any of the support along the way, we can even strike a little bit early. Like in this case, when we're at $1. We hit $1 closer, or $1.04 a few days ago, or yesterday. So I want to look for it to fall a little bit more, and then to confirm I want a health. So I may want to buy some now and maybe some a little bit later. I don't mind paying a premium if I know I'm getting something quality. Okay, I don't mind paying a premium if I know I'm getting something more safer. Okay, I don't like to take big risks, so I don't like to buy sometimes at these supports, but I wait till I have a support and I move into a healthy area. Then I'm going to pay a higher price, but I'm going to be more safer. And that's part of my personality and the way that I also teach how to navigate something like this. So that move is important.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, I forgot to ask this question too. This is more like a sort of a teaching one. When I asked you about those parabolics and you drew them, how far do you, when do you know to stop extending them?
I stop drawing them when I see that price is moving away from them and there's not really a reason for them to go up. So for example, I extended this here right now, right? But I extended it here. When I get that bounce, that's going to become important again. Just say I get bounce, I might be looking for it to hit that parabolic, but I also may see price bounce above and sit on it, or not set it at all. But I do watch it and I do pay attention to it. So as long as it's in the vicinity and it seems like I'm going to be going in the direction, I'll extend those. But if you forget to extend those, sometimes those can come back to bite you. So I don't just extend them forever, but as long as we're in the vicinity and I know and I have a higher degree that price is going to come back up. If I know price is just going to come back down, there's no supports, no nothing, I won't even worry about drawing those parabolics anymore. But if I do know it's coming back up, I'll keep my eye on some of those more immediate lines.
Awesome, thank you.
Anyone else? Alrighty. Now we're going to do Sol. Sol is a crypto we've done a few times. Again, as I said, we had 275 at close, but price only hit 264 as a DP projection. That was based on the more wick side, not the conservative side, but the wick side. Sometimes you'll see prices hit both, and sometimes that even means you're going to hit both, and that would put our conservative target somewhere about where we hit. Okay, so that means that if I'm taking the distance only conservatively and I bring it to the top side, I hit there. That means there's still a target on the board, and to calculate that target, I can move up to today's price and go straight up to where I'm supposed to be. That number is going to be 268. We hit conservatively our target 262 if we were trading that, and we have not hit the liberal target, which is a little bit further than our liberal. Does that make sense to you guys? All right, what is new on the board for this crypto? Let's take a look. Okay. So we had a down move. We're in an uptrend. We had a down move. We hit it 1, 2, maybe 3 times based on that wick there. I'm going to draw a sword cut when we went up significantly from this area. So the sword cut is when we have a strong down move. I'm sorry, this one. When we have a strong down move and we break up significantly, we can draw a flat sword cut. And I don't always draw them, but our method is named after those sword cuts. Wait, here we go. So I'm going to draw a flat there. The next thing I'm going to look for is in this down move, in the volume, do I see that this move was on very low volume, the volume was decreasing, or do I see that this move down was on a strong increasing volume? If it was on a strong increasing volume, I know more money's coming in. This is a secondary campaign, and I'm going to be looking for this to come up to much higher prices. If it's just on declining volume, I know it's a correction and we still should be seeing higher prices, and then I'm going to be looking still for higher prices, but maybe not as super high. I'll still be reading it normal. There's one other thing I'm looking at. This is a larger move here. There's a larger energy center here, and this here move down does is this type of energy center, but we need to see that if we brought these together, this is actually sitting on support. Okay, I'm gonna zoom out so you guys can see that. So we'll determine what's happening right now, but if this down move, which was, especially if it's really significant, we can see where we're sitting right now is actually a very bullish spot. So even though we're pulling back, in the overall world or in the larger story, we can actually see that's a good reason for us to be hitting a much higher price. If we were just doing DP projections based on this oscillation, we're supposed to hit somewhere around $5,000. Current price is 186. Solana. This may actually hit wealth transfer numbers for some of you. Okay, it's $186 right now. But let's take a look. We're going to look at those 3 things. Okay, now there's one more thing I'm going to look at, and I'm telling you guys before I see it, so we can know if we see it or not. I'm going to look for pushing volume on this candle right there when we crossed over to that side. Pushing volume on the date of November 4th. Okay, so November 4th. So do I have pushing volume? Do I have declining or rising? If it's rising, that means there's a secondary campaign. There's a strong incentive, therefore, to see strong prices. If it's a pullback, if it's really declining, that might mean a strong interest, a lack of interest into health, and that's also strong. So let's look at for both of those. Alrighty, number 1, the pushing volume. Do I got it? I got some pretty strong volume. Maybe not the best volume, but it's pretty strong on those 2 dates, the date right before and the date after, these 2 bars. Some of the strongest we've seen since here, okay, which was around August. So November's date on high volume and November 4th and November 11th week, bold to strong pushing volume. I wonder if I can see it on the individual day. Let's go all the way down to a daily chart and see if I can isolate it down to a single day. Yep, really strong volume, especially on the day that we pushed. Okay, right here, November 6th, November 7th. Okay, I like it. So pushing volume, check. That means that the move into this territory is primarily on purpose. So I don't care that they pull this back. They did what they were supposed to do when they were supposed to do it. Okay, next, let's look at that macro volume. Let's pull back on the weekly chart. Navigating soul. When we learn some of these principles, we can learn them on the others. Okay. Do I have a strong declining volume? The first time we came down, it was on declining volume. Then we came down again on declining volume. But then we came down this 3rd time and something changed. This move down, or the smaller move down, oh, never mind. I'm not going to say that one. That's not right. That's also still declining volume. Oh, I see what they did here. This strong volume into this area here, or ramping up, was this move here. I wonder if they were trying to push it at that time, but they couldn't. If we were doing the volume comparison, we can say, hey, the volume is still high. They have a reason to challenge it again. And when they challenge it again and the volume's high, that's a strong incentive, and it tells you, and this is where I draw that circle in the upper corner with the arrow showing you it's very likely we're going to see higher prices. High volume, high volume, and again, the challenge, high volume, that tells us they're going to bring it up. They're not ready for a lower market. It's not ready. So we're going to see that higher volume. And this is that. So this seems to be a common theme for today. It's a very good thing. Now let's go further. Tells us that this move is on purpose. So I'm not ready. The average person is not going to see anything here. They're just going to be like, we've been here before. But me, I don't see that. I see what's really happening. I see them launching to try to push it. I see there's a lot of buying here, or pushing. I see there's a lot of pushing and incentives to bring it up. I don't see a secondary campaign, and I don't see a super low no demand, but I did see a strong decline on those down moves, and that's a good sign. Let me hide my histogram, because in this case I don't need my histogram to show you. Let me show you maybe on a 2-day chart. It's going to be a little clearer. Okay, yeah, here we go. Here's our down move, no interest. Here's our next down move. That's when we start getting attempt to push. One more time, lack of interest. Then we get one more push, one more rise in volume. It tells us the harmony is up high. They're looking to bring it higher. I think that's what's going to happen. Lack of interest tells us it's not probably going to be super high right now, but I do a strong push, and this is a case. Okay. So now the next thing we're going to do is, if we know that it's supposed to be higher, we're going to draw and hunt for our next move. We already talked about the DP projections, which is in this range. So that's going to be one of the things we need to beat. So I'm going to draw a health above there. So I know that if I can get above, and the date for today is 265. If I can get above 265 and build above here, I'm probably going to go higher. If I'm looking for low prices, I'm looking right now at 188, or even the sword cut closer to 3. So if I'm trying to get SOL at a cheap price, those are the prices I'm looking to get to. So those are the two prices you can pay. You can either pay 188, 173, and probably still get a smoking deal on something that's probably going to be moving higher, or I can pay 268 and still be more conservative. Okay. The other thing is to finish up by drawing the full DP projection. So maybe the distance from here to here is going to become important as we go higher. Taking the distance, this is why I say we may be looking at $5,000. So now I've seen this number twice. I've seen this number here based on the larger structures. 1, 2, 3. Key angle 1, 2, 3. And here's the top. That means that we take our T key angle, duplicate it along the top side, and there's our top. So I know this is my top. That's my bottom. Anytime I'm at a bottom, I know I'm getting, or probably getting, good prices. That's why right now we can know that our last top bottoms are closer to $100 and our highest prices are closer to $4,000. Now that means, it doesn't always mean we're going to go to that bottom. We can use the reverberations principle and lots of other things like that, which I'm not doing all today. But if I have a reason that now's the time to go up and we're not going to be crashing to some of our lower numbers, which rise up. Back then they were $50, now they're $80. But if I have reason to go up, I can calculate how much money might be on the table. So how much money's on the table for us? If I were to buy today and we move up closer to that $5,000, that's around 4,000%. That's huge. Huge. Okay. Triple J has a prophetic number she put of $600. Okay. Current price is 186. Even that is pretty good. And I'm sure there's going to be lots of stops along the way, but I'm just giving you the larger story. As I see it, this is one of the things that's possible. 4,000 number is going to be up there. Let's go to next week. Yep. And it's actually really high. Sorry, 7,000. 7,000% there. And it's not a vortex, but 4,096 for this area. Both of those numbers are pretty high. The DP was in the past. I'm sorry, the vortex for this was in the past. And that's okay. I like them when they're in the future. But as it is, I will put that 7,000 number and the 4,000. So if markets go really high, don't be surprised if SOL is somewhere up in the sky in the 4,000s, because they have an incentive to go up higher. All right. Any other questions for me as I finish up today? I got one more crypto. Any more questions for this crypto?
I had a quick one.
Yeah.
just at the top, if you drew a sort of a trend line similar to the black, I don't know if that's a watch line you have at the top.
Yeah.
But something that's sharper angle at last peak.
Yeah, that would be a watch line right there.
I'm just wondering, what's the date around that vortex?
It is around March. The sword cut one is March 14th, and the based on this white one is February 20th.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. That's your watch line. Yeah, Camino.
How's it going? Okay, so talking about Jay's number 600 and some of those other higher numbers like what you were talking about, we had a little discussion. I think it was Monday or Wednesday after class. I was thinking about, instead of hoping a dream on some of these meme coins, maybe it would be more profitable or safer way to place money in this market by going after the blockchains themselves, like ETH, Solana, Ace, Avalanche. Okay, going after the blockchains that hold these tokens. Getting into ETH though, I heard some people talking about ETH is like a dinosaur and the fees are so high, that kind of thing. And maybe ETH is not so much the blockchain, but I know we're talking high numbers for that one too. And I invested in all of these. But what's your thoughts about, instead of playing with meme coins, maybe invest in the blockchains they're on?
I'm going to reserve my opinion. I'm going to say that you probably do well. They're probably easier to track. A lot of the bigger ones seem to be easier to track than and by track, map, and navigate, than the smaller coins that are just on their networks. And I don't have enough experience with just taking coins that are specifically on a network and comparing them to how the bigger network itself does. My theory is that they should follow that network. If the network is falling, they should also fall. But I don't have enough experience of knowing, if not mapping those coins. I map those coins all the time, but in comparing those two together. Some of you guys who want to do the hard work of footwork, see if you can allocate to see if they are trending with their larger coins, let me know, because then you get a good idea of what's happening with those markets. If ETH falls down, is the coins on the ETH network going to fall specifically for that day? Is there a connection to them? And if there is a connection, there may be things that are more nefarious going on behind the scenes that may be one day exposed. But until then, at least you can use it to your advantage.
Can I just go ahead, Ian?
That question was confusing to me, because it's meme coins. You speculate on meme coins because they're much smaller caps and they've got potentially much higher potential to go up more. The only way I see that concept working is something which I've done before is try to pick a more solid coin that is like a blockchain, and then just long and short that coin, and then I can make meme coin gains, but on a coin that's potentially not going anywhere, ADA or SHIBA or whatever. So, and yeah, just in my opinion, for me, a safe long, like 3x, I've seen percent in the space of 2 weeks. Yeah, that's one concept that's viable, as long as you're aware of the direction of the market. It can be easier than finding the next big meme coin, and potentially safer, in my opinion. So that would be all I would say in relation to that question.
But I look at it this way, Ian, and I know this is going to be a hard question, and I don't know if it can be answered, but I'm investing in stuff like, the XRP and stuff like the tokens, okay? So obviously I have a lot of money in those. When you guys invest in these meme coins, how much money do you throw at it? Because if you got a small market cap with low liquidity, how do you get out? If we're talking $5, $10, $15, that's fine, but are you going to throw $10,000 at a meme coin?
You don't, because it's high risk. But what I'm saying is, if you find the SHIBA, the next SHIBA, then yeah, you're going to have the liquidity to get out. I mean,
okay, see what you just said? It's high risk. What I'm proposing is going into the blockchains because they're less risky.
That's generally what people do, is they have their solid coins and then they invest in small amounts in some meme coins in order to try to gain more money. Like, because if you just sit in the large caps, then you might be less likely to make a lot of money. Like, some people find a meme coin, invest $50, and it turns into $3,000.
Use it as stepping stones.
Yeah.
So to speak. Okay.
It's been incredibly powerful for many people. I know a lot of people that got into SHIBA at 502 or more than that, and various coins that have done 100x's and stuff like that. I was in SHIBA.
Yeah, and as a strategy, a couple of weeks ago, I asked people, I said, how many people took their SHIBA winnings and put it in XRP, and nobody gave me an answer.
Talking about SHIBA, when you get a chance, Jason, can you look at it? I'm wondering if it's going to go to 1917.
Okay. Make sure you write down that number. I'll be looking at that on Monday. Okay. I'm writing down the remaining requests. I wrote down already. Okay, let's finish up today. Do we have more conversation about this? We can come back to that if you'll hold on to some of your thoughts.
I have a strategy. Let's say when XDC really shoots up and it goes crazy, I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy the meme coin, which is like Dopu, Dog with a Purpose, and then BBB, which is this other little meme coin on the XDC network. But like when the network shoots up and there's a lot of talk about it, you have to go hunt their meme coins, and that's probably when it's going to start popping. Look at the chart and then maybe get in on that meme coin. But that's a strategy to think about. When like a layer one is pumping, go see what their meme coin is and chart it and see if it's good.
I think we have a hot mic. Superfood said, please listen to Murad thesis regarding meme coins, MURAD. It's in the VIP Plus to understand the meme coin mindset and return on investment. Sounds like a good thing. All right, here we go at GA. This is a crypto. This is fairly new. It appears to be. Look at this. This is a 2-day chart, March 2024. Looks like Gamer Arena requested by MB. So MB, this one, this little ditty goes out to MB. And so you can watch this a little bit later. Here goes. Now I don't have too much data for this crypto, but I will make some observations. It appears to be currently in some weaknesses here, and we appear to be in a downtrend. If we take these last energy centers here and duplicate them out at a phantom, we may be still looking to come down a little bit further. Okay, so this is going to be something we're going to be looking to come down a little bit further, possibly because of some of these things. So let's see if I can draw a little bit more accurately, and then I'm going to determine if I need to take the wick side or the core, just the core. Now I see lots of wicks on here, so even if I get to the top, I'm going to be looking to bring those wicks that are here, I'm going to be looking to bring them up to the top side. So if I hit, I'm probably going to want to set my limits a little bit higher, and price has a little habit of going above this area. Okay, yet still the meaty part may be still here. Now I'll give you that price. Let's look at the volume. Okay, I see a strong increase in volume on these down bars that may be indicating there's a buying campaign that may be coming in sometime soon. Now there's another, this coin is probably going to do really well, and I'm going to tell you some thoughts on why. Okay, this coin is probably going to do well. It's just smaller probably smaller market cap. It looks like it's probably going to be a meme coin, but let me talk about some things on why it's probably going to do well. Number one, when it had its long move down, the move down was into health on consistent volume. There are a few things I like to look for. I like to look for individual high volume bars, such as that one. Look at the volume on this down bar. Look at the volume. Gosh darn it, look at the volume. That's huge. On a down bar with closes near the middle or the origin point. So it's a down bar. It wicked all the way here, but came right back in the same area near the middle. Now that generally happens when there's lots of buying and it buys up back that position. And the move came into health a few days later on July 2024, July 1st. So here, June, buying identified. Okay, so that's something that's generally a giveaway of buying. All right, pay attention. This one can help you make some, I hope this one helps you do well in the future. Everything in this video is never financial investment or trading advice of any kind. Large buying coming in. So this came in in a microwave, okay, and I'm just going to put micro to indicate what type of buying or where I found the buying, okay. So on this bar, there's some buying. The moves into health, we move up from there for a time. The next area I'm going to say is when we look at the macro as a whole. So just say we don't have that bar. There's a phenomenon, and I've learned this in volume spread analysis, that when you see straight across or consistent volume, it is also a data giveaway that buying is coming in. And it's almost mechanical, right? The volume is like every day there's exactly the same amount of money. Every day. This is very rare, but it's a sign that it's buying happening. And buying, remember, has to happen from professionals on down bars, down moves, and down trends. So large money or large orders are being placed for this coin. The whole move, again, is into health. All right, so just remember that. Okay, now, as we come into this area, again, more mechanical buying. All the high volume in this area is also mechanical. All right, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. Now, one more thing. As we come down again, as we come up to these high areas, there's not enough juice or incentive to bring us into new territory. So we're not ready. There's no real big market up here just yet. No real strong high volume challenges like we talked about today. None of that's happening. So the market is just not ready yet. However, when we come down, what is happening again? As we're coming down, what is the volume doing? Let me turn on my histogram to make it a little bit more clearly, and you guys type it in the chat if you can see what's happening. What's happening again? Can anybody see what's happening as we're coming down? Type it in the chat, unmute your mic, say it.
People are buying? Is that what that is in the bottom?
It looks like people are buying. It looks like Triple J is learning something. It looks like money's coming in. Buying is coming in. The volume is increasing as the price is coming down. So the next, that would lend us to believe, okay, the next we still have to see another health. Where do we draw the health? Again, one health is up here, and the other half health will be based on this more recent watch line. Okay, so the more recent watch line is probably somewhere here. Now, I don't think we're going to get all the way that breakout right now today. We may even come here lower. But as we come lower, if we see another one of these large moves, then we can go up. Now, it's also important to note that the area of buying, or the VZV, volume zone block, was first here, and now it's again here. But because the lack of buying, once the buying started, after the buying is not as high as it was here, that tells us something. What does this mean when I compare these areas together in the macro? Does anybody remember what that might mean? We're only about this high in the volume, and last time we were really high in the volume when we were in those same areas. There was a lot of people willing to sell. When it fell down here, it was probably scaring the heck out of people, and somebody was buying back up, and we went. Now we're back here again, but the volume's nowhere near as close. If we see a strong decrease in volume from this area to this area, it's still the volume zone block. What does it mean? Somebody tell me, if you remember. I taught this in one of our lessons. Okay, a strong decrease in volume. What does it mean, Dave?
Prices are going higher.
It may mean prices going higher. Why would it move higher? And yes, I believe that would mean it would go higher, but why? Does anybody remember why the principle would work? What is actually occurring here when we compare these items together in a buying campaign? I taught it in our lessons 1 through 17, especially in 14, 15, 16, 17. Anybody remember? Comparing these two areas together as decrease in volume means something important. Very important that you guys all need to remember. It happens during buying campaigns, which we've identified. Accumulation. There's another word that starts with an A that is like accumulation. Accumulation is a word for buying in pieces. Buying some here. Yes, we know that. But there's another word that starts with an A we're also looking for to help us describe the situation. If I see the decrease in volume, it doesn't just mean accumulation. Accumulation is buying here. We got that. Buying here, increase. We got that. We know there's buying coming in. So there's large buying here, and now there's small buying here in the micro, okay, or in the smaller areas. But now we can compare those buyings together, and I see a trend happening. Something is happening. It starts with an A. Okay. The word is, who remembers it? No, it starts with the A. Yes, it's a buying campaign. Definitely it's a buying campaign. But the buying campaign has to have a certain important element. For us to have higher prices, something important has to happen in the buying campaign. No, I'll give you a clue. I'll give you the opposite of it, okay? Nope, not accumulation. Accumulation is when we see buying over, and yeah, that's a part of it. But here's a clue. So here's a clue. If I see the volume was increased, just say the volume was not decreased, and I see the volume getting even stronger, right? I see the volume get even stronger as we come back to area number 2. So here's this area number 1. Here's area number 2, and maybe area number 3 might be in the future. If I see volume really strong here and there's an increase in volume, is prices ready to rise? Yes or no? If I see a really strong increase in volume, are we ready for higher prices? Is anybody? It's a dead giveaway. Really strong increase in prices. Are we going higher? Yes or no? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Put it in the chat. Unmute your microphone. Dave says yes.
Affirmative.
We're going higher if we see a really strong increase. Okay. Depending on RSI. Okay, I need to be a better teacher. We're gonna do some more tutorials this month in these areas. Okay. If I see a strong, this is the answer. If I see a strong increase in volume, it's the same principle we've been doing all day. If I see, I'm gonna flip the chart upside down to highlight this principle. We talk about this. This will jog your memory. From point A to point B, we challenge the same flat area, and I see a strong increase in volume. What am I looking for next? I'm looking for us to challenge that area again. Yes, I'll be looking for it. And if I see the volume increase even more, then I know that prices are not ready to come down. Okay, I know that they're not ready to come down. They're gonna go up. They're not ready to come down. They're going to go higher if I saw that increase. All right, everybody got that? Now, here's what I did. I flipped the chart upside down. So let's now take that same thinking and I'm going to flip it back the way it was. So if the volume is really high on these moves, but they keep increasing, is the market ready? The answer is no. We are not ready for higher prices. We are going to be looking for one more challenge. And if that challenge is on even higher volume, then that means we're going down. And it's a dead giveaway we're going down. Okay. That means there's going to be a number 3. Now, right now, there's no number 3. We're still at number 2. And we are not going up, but we are going down. See if now we can connect the dots. What has to happen, therefore? What is the underlying principle? If I see them challenging this area again, and I have a high degree of certainty they're going to challenge this area again, and I see a decrease in volume, not an increase, but this time I see them decreasing. I know they're buying. The word is absorption. Everybody say it out loud. Absorption. Got it? Okay, so we are looking to absorb the supply. I don't want to just see buying. I know there's buying. I want to make sure that they bought up all the supply. According to the laws of supply and demand, you have to have more of the supply so that you can control the demand. If you hold all the pieces, just like in Monopoly, you get to charge a higher rent because you hold the cards. So they want to make sure that the floating supply or the large bulk of the floating supply is removed. And this is a good clue that it is. So again, if the volume was really high, I'm going to say, man, it's not ready yet. But because the volume is drying up, the volume is being absorbed, it's likely it's going to happen sooner than normal. Now, this is still somewhat high volume, right? Okay, it is still somewhat high volume, and that's why I'm going to be comparing them to these two areas. So comparatively, it is lower, but it's still higher. That means people are still willing to part with that at lower prices. And if they're still willing to part with it, you don't want to drive it up, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be, if you're holding up and you drive it up during a buying campaign, those people who are still holding it, they're going to swamp you with supply. They're going to be like, okay, I'm taking profit, and now you have to pay a high price. You have to pay really high prices just to bring it past those areas and make it higher. You cannot do this easily. It's very expensive to do it. Therefore, they teach in volume spread analysis, it's much easier to launch a buying campaign and buy up the floating supply at cheap prices. Okay, this is why they have to keep removing the supply in those VZBs. So in our lessons 1 through 17, I taught about VZB, the volume zone block. We look for the absorption of supply in buying campaigns at those areas. And right now, we're trending in the right direction. Okay, so in conclusion, this decrease tells me it's trending in the right direction. They're buying and it's going decrease. So if I see them, because it's still a little high, they may challenge it one more time and we may bounce here into health. We may come into health and come back down. But if I see we have no demand, now there's no demand, we're really low volume, then I'm going to be saying, wow, they launched a buying campaign. I'm going to be looking for higher prices. And then sometime in the future, I'm going to be looking for when they're going to get out, when they're going to take profit. And they're probably going to take profit at the DP somewhere between this range. We're going to duplicate it out to the sky somewhere maybe at 25 cents. Current price is 3 cents. They're probably going to make a lot of money. And that's just one estimate I can have. So right now, I can't say we're in the best sitting position. We're probably going to come lower, but I can see that the professionals coming in and I can tell you what to look for next. To give you a little note, I'm going to type this in so you guys remember this. In today's video, I can see buying coming into GAU. And I'm going to, by the way, I'm going to add this to long-term bullish, okay? Or possible long-term bullish because we're not in health. Possible long-term bullish. I can see buying coming into GAU. However, because the relative floating supply volume at these levels, in other words, at these areas, is still high, and that's relative to the part number one. So area number one, area number two, volume number two compared to volume number one. That's relative to this. Does that make sense? Because of the volume at these areas is still rather high, I would probably expect that even if prices rise past the watch line, resistance above, which I'm going to draw, I would also expect one more move down. This is how we can predict multiple moves in the future. One more move down to test the floating supply. This is all because the buying campaign. If we come down to a third time, we can label this area number 3. I want to see low volume. I want to see no demand. If this is the case, look for the upper price phantom to be broken and prices to rise much higher. Already the clues are explained in today's video. Okay, the upper prices are that one, 66 cents, 6 cents. So if I'm gonna buy this anyway, I might want to pay a penny. Okay, conservatively a penny. It may go even lower because of the wicks that I didn't really include. It could be down all the way down there, less than a penny. But conservatively, I'm just gonna say about a penny. So I want to pay that price. The watch line where I'm going to look for this to start coming back up first is that one. I'm going to use the wick side. I can set an alert for myself just to remind me that this crypto exists. So I may want to watch it come here. It may come all the way to the top and come back down, but most likely once it comes above, I'm going to look for it to come down one more time anyway. So I'm not really looking to buy above this watch line just yet, unless I see that we get to the bottom down here and there's almost nothing. If this is really low or drops off, and we come into health, I'm going to be looking for us to go. But most likely we're going to come up and we're going to challenge it a third time, and we're going to have to see what the volume is at that time. It's going to tell us is the cake ready or not. 1, 2, and then there's going to be 3, possibly. And I'm going to put a question mark. It depends on what the volume is like as we end. But as it is, it's still high. It's in the right direction. The professionals are aiding it, but it doesn't mean it's ready to be eaten by the consumer. Okay, we're going to be looking for that. No demand, decrease in all 3. So 1, 2, 3 in volume. 1, 2, 3. I know it's going down, but it's telling me the professionals are entering this, and this is how we can catch these at really cheap prices before they move up, and you guys can be wildly successful if they move into their health, because the professionals are entering these ones and they have a reason to enter. Some of them are the long game, very long game. Let's put the date. Possible long-term bullish, and I'll put some of my final thoughts. I would wait and not buy this yet. It needs to be watched. This gamer coin is probably going to do fantastic because of the clues we can see. But we need to watch it until it's ready to strike. We may be striking down here at 0.01 cents, but as it is closer to 1.9, it's probably a good price, and then we're going to look to make some money. Now, just as a baseline, if I take this to the DP projection, if I buy here, I'm looking to make around 1,000%, probably at least. Okay, if we bounce from here and maybe challenge again, we'll still probably make closer to 1,000%. Here's 1,600, here's 1,100 if it happens sometime before June. Do I have any other questions, comments this crypto? Okay, any questions, comments this crypto? Okay, and I will teach more volume stuff compared to the campaign. When you see campaigns, then we watch. We don't always watch for those things, but when we see a campaign, then we can apply some of these principles. Okay, that's going to be all for today. Camino says GAU is only on one exchange. This is what I was speaking of. Yeah, sometimes it looks like maybe only on MEX, maybe. I don't know. Let's see how many exchanges it really is on. Looks like Camino says it's only on one. Some of these cryptos, they start getting listed on more and more exchanges, and they do well over time. I want to see the ones that are targeting. And it could be a gamble for the institutions, the big money. It could be they don't know what's happening, but they're going to target it anyway. If they're finished their campaign and it moves into health, you may want to get it. If it finishes their campaign and there's signs that they absorbed all the supply, you might want to get it. You may want to throw money at low prices right now and just see what happens. But if I see the things I need to see and I see them absorb and then I see it move into health, I can throw big money in. But not yet. Not yet. All right. Father, we thank you for this day. I pray that you would bless us, our community. I pray that you would give them minds to understand more and more each day. Help them with their art. Help them with pattern recognition. Help them to draw and not be afraid to make mistakes in their art. I pray that you would expand their minds more and more each day and all the things that they're trying to do. Now bless our community with much love. Bless our community with much peace. Give us much wisdom. Help us to remember that not all of us will trade the same way or think the same way or even are supposed to do the same things. For there are those who are in different parts of the world and may not even be able to take advantage of some of the other opportunities that another has. We also may not all be supposed to participating in the wealth transfer in the same way. I know that there are opportunities everywhere, but I pray that you would open the eyes of the opportunities for that person and the cryptos that are for them or the stocks that are for them or the ways that they're supposed to navigate wealth transfer events. In all cases, you are the king. And I pray that you would remind us to humble ourselves so that we can be exalted. I pray that we remind ourselves to humble ourselves so we can be exalted in your sight and that we would not be humbled by you because of our pride and arrogance. Help us to remember all the things we don't know. There's always room for growth. Help us to remember like a tree and a plant and a fruit. We're either growing or we're dying. I pray we never get to the point when we are stop growing, but we're always learning, always moving on in every area of our life. Bless them, keep them. Make your face to shine upon them. Look upon them with favor. Be abounding to them with grace. Be gracious unto them. Lift up your countenance towards them, Lord, and give them peace. Until we meet again tomorrow for the Word Room, I pray that you would be with them, enlighten their minds, give them strength in their families. Make the fathers, make the mothers, make us powerful people. Make us a good witness and a good example and a good testimony. Exuding brotherly love always. We thank you. In Jesus' name, amen. We'll be back for Word Room tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our online message. Hope you guys join me tomorrow. And then we'll be back Monday for some cryptos. I'll leave it here. I'll be here in just a few months to answer a few more questions before I go out for today.